chosen breed. You don't see too many like me, cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you, cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
And welcome to the latest episode of Joxx here from Cherryville, North Carolina, presented to you by thanks to KTC Broadcasting. Hunter Yancey here along with Kevin Hastings. Kevin will join me here in just a second. For those of you that are live, he's in here just double checking on our audio, making sure everything is sounding crisp, and we're bringing it to you in the best way possible. Again, want to also thank you guys, of course, watching us on Facebook Live, and those of you that are listening to us via podcast platform. Hope everybody had a great weekend, as it is Monday, and it is the day after the Super Bowl. Of course, we're going to have some Super Bowl to recap. Chiefs, 49ers, what we saw, what we wish we would have seen if we're happy with the outcome, what this means for the NFL going forward. Is Patrick Mahomes become the face of the NFL, essentially? In 3 seasons, what he has accomplished is fantastic. Not only that, we'll also be touching up on other sports from around the world, whether it's Major League Baseball. I know NBA action's going on right now. College basketball is going on as well. I've seen a lot of people also being very upset on Twitter, saying now we have to wait 7 months for football again, when they don't realize the XFL starts this Saturday. That's what a lot of them do not realize. So you don't have to wait 7 months to watch football when the XFL is being brought to you live this Saturday. So be ready for that. Football in spring, and no, it is not a spring game. It is legit competition in football. So that's great. We got that to look forward to as Kevin joins me now. Again, want to say thank you to all of those tuning in on Facebook and those of you that are listening to this on the podcast platforms. Kevin, we had a big game yesterday.
I actually didn't check the volume.
You didn't?
I did all the links.
Oh,
didn't
you
even
did
hit
all the
listen
links.
to it.
You
I
didn't
hit
even
center.
get-
It's muted, so
It's
folks don't
muted.
even know if I sound good right now. I tell you what, I'm going to take about 5 or 6 more seconds, 10 more seconds, Hunter,
Yeah.
and I'll be right back while you check the audio. Make sure the folks at home can hear us loud and clear.
Loud and clear. But we did have a big game yesterday. For those of you that did not watch, I'll just go over it for you really quick. The Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers, Super Bowl 54. Recap for you here. Basically, the Chiefs came out on top. The score was 31-20. At one time, the score was 20-10 San Francisco, and that was a huge flip-flop as San Francisco, instead of winning by 10, loses by 11. I think that's one of the things that has really stuck out to a lot of people. How at one point San Francisco was leading by double digits and ended up losing by double digits. So Kevin, that were you or were you not entertained by the game yesterday? Did you think it was a good game?
Definitely entertained. You know, talking about these quarterbacks,
Yeah.
you know, Mahomes already he needed MVP and everything, or deserved the MVP. How about Hunter? He's the first. He's got 3 double-digit come from behind wins in the playoffs that ties Brady for the all-time record, I think.
All-time record, and he did it
In one season.
One playoff run.
The ridiculous things about it, comebacks are one thing. Like Brady would come back and win by 3.
Yeah.
But these the Chiefs were down by 20 to the Texans.
24
to the Texans and won by 20. Like that is the most ridiculous thing I could possibly ever say as far as that goes. I just can't get over that. They were down 10, then to the Titans and won, and down 10 to the 49ers and won. Now, this is, and if y'all remember, last week I kept saying I really like the 49ers, but I'm really worried about Kyle Shanahan. I mean, this is his blown leads in the last 2 Super Bowls. Against the Patriots, they were up 16 points with 6 minutes in the game. We'll say 7 minutes in both games. 7 minutes in the fourth quarter of both games. Shanahan against the Patriots blew a 16-point lead against the Patriots and lost by 6. And he blew a 10-point lead and lost by 11 to the 49ers this weekend. One of the things me and Terry have been talking about for years and years is the clock management of end of games. These coaches outthink themselves. I've seen Jason Garrett, and I think the reason he doesn't have a job today is because he is awful at clock management. There was the last year the Giants won the Super Bowl. There was 3 games where Garrett could have called nothing but kneel downs in the fourth. 3 kneels and a punt, and the Cowboys would have won. He lost 3 of those. That means Eli wouldn't have a second Super Bowl, Hunter.
Yeah.
Because the Cowboys would have won the tiebreaker, had way more wins than him. He wouldn't have a second Super Bowl if Jason Garrett, all he had to do was call a kneel down. Coaches, you think too much. When you have a lead in the fourth quarter, stop throwing the ball. When you have a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, please stop throwing the ball.
Yeah.
And if you're up 20 points, like 28-3, that one is the most ridiculous. That's just stupid because all they had to do was run the ball. And when people wonder why, what I mean by that, every incompletion basically stops 40 seconds off the clock.
Mm-hmm.
So Garoppolo had 7, I think, in the second half yesterday. Let's just say 6 for even time. I'll give him 6. That's 2 minutes for every 3 plays. So he could have wasted 4 minutes off the clock, Hunter, just by taking 3 knees, and punting.
Yes.
Instead of trying to get a first down by passing with Garoppolo. It turned into... it turned into one of those games where the coaches, and Andy Reid has been awful forever as far as clock management. And he's lucky enough to run into someone
who's just as bad.
Who's worse.
Yeah.
I think he's just worse. Altogether just god-awful at clock management. I mean, that's just terrible. So Kansas City scored with 2:47 left in the fourth quarter to that touchdown to get within 7 or whatever. And then... I'm gonna go through these. I want to make sure I get it exactly right, so some of our listeners don't fuss and whatnot. I got to get this box score up here. I don't care about.
Click on the final.
Staff writers. You see one?
Click up top.
Up top.
The final where it says
up here. Hey, here we go. So this is what I want to go play by play. So Hunter, Kansas City throws an interception. Down 20-10.
Yeah.
And that's when me and the rest of the 49er Nation, I'm not a 49er fan, and I was pulling for the Chiefs because I don't like the 49ers, but I thought the 49ers would win. They threw a pick up 10 in the third quarter with a minute left, 30 seconds left. All right, tackle 46 yards. I want to make sure I get to the end of the third quarter. Nope, that was in the fourth quarter. He threw the pick. Make sure I get this. Shotgun intended for Tyreek Hill. So they threw a pick with 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
Down 10. And won by 11. So here's the play for San Francisco. Since after that, with 12 minutes, I'm going to go right through it. Garoppolo pass. Let's see, Garoppolo incomplete. So even in the completions, I think are stupid calls. So I'm going to go through those too. Count the passes here, Hunter. Garoppolo, short pass, catch to Kittle. Garoppolo, incomplete. Shotgun, that was a called pass. Penalty on San Francisco. There's another pass. Jimmy Garoppolo scrambles. There's another pass. There's 4 passes on that possession. Immediately after getting an interception in the fourth quarter, up 10, Kyle Shanahan calls 4 pass plays. Whether they're successful or not, it doesn't matter because you're just risking the chance of stopping the clock. 2 of them were stopped the clock. A penalty stopped the clock. And they threw a pick. I mean, then they punted. Okay. So that's when Kansas City marched down the field and scored the touchdown. So I just don't I don't understand 3 plays and a punt a few minutes later. Let's see how many of those were passes. And what in the world did I just do to my for folks watching? I got to stare at my screen here, and I lost my box score, Hunter. I don't even know what button I pushed. I don't even remember pressing a button for it to disappear like that. You know how these new computers are. They got weird stuff everywhere. And now the internet's spinning. But anyway, I'm just going to get back to that real quick. The fact that they just did not run the ball is just the stupidest thing ever. That's why Jason Garrett doesn't have a job, why a lot of these coaches don't have jobs anymore. And so that's my key to the game. Reason why San Francisco lost is because Kyle Shanahan kept calling run plays when they could call them pass plays, and they could have punted. They could have hit 3 knees and punted and done better. And just wasting time. Coaches do it all the time. And we say all the time, every coach needs a 12-year-old on the sideline that's and he don't even have to be paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Just have him over playing Madden on his his phone or whatever.
Yeah.
And then what? Hey kid, what we do here the last 2 minutes? Because the people that play Madden are the best at time management. It's just the best. Like, you put them in there, let them do it. And I just think San Francisco choked that away.
I'm gonna put that on Kyle Shanahan because Garoppolo didn't play bad.
No.
I look at the numbers. Yeah, he has 1 less throwing touchdown than Mahomes.
Well, they won the last game, and they didn't even let him throw
I
in the
know,
second half.
they only let him throw it 8 times in the game prior. This time they had him throw the ball 31 times. Compared to Mahomes was 62% on his passes.
Mm-hmm.
Garoppolo was 65.
Mm-hmm.
He threw 2 picks just like Mahomes did. Mahomes threw 2 interceptions. Garoppolo was only sacked once. Mahomes was sacked 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
The difference was Mahomes had 2 throwing touchdowns, but 3 total. Because he had the first touchdown that the Chiefs scored, where he basically willed it in himself on the option play and scored the rushing touchdown. But other than that, like, Garoppolo did not play bad. People are going to say it's all on Garoppolo because he did have some moments where you would look at him and say, well, "You really made that? That was the decision you made." You're rearing back to throw the ball. You said it a couple times, and I saw it too. The camera angles, they did not do him any justice. Looks like he closed his eyes a couple times when he was throwing the ball. And really, I don't know why, because he was only sacked once. I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe he just got a little gun shy. You start getting hit after a little while. You start preparing to get hit before they even get
4
there.
times, right?
No, Garoppolo was sacked once.
Oh, and
Mahomes was sacked 4 times.
Okay.
So really, the defensive line, which I've been saying really throughout the season and this playoffs, for the 49ers, they did their job. Like, they got home. All right, I've got this between DeForest Buckner and Joey Bosa. They had a pretty big game. They had 6 solo tackles, but they had 11 total tackles, 2.5 sacks. Buckner had 1.5. Bosa had 1. And then they had quarterback hits. They had 5 total. So they got to the quarterback. And Buckner usually plays either defensive tackle or right end because they put Bosa on the left end. The thing is, I think this was the difference maker. We had been talking about Kansas City wants to throw the ball all over the yard, and they don't really have a run game. Well, Damian Williams showed up last night on 17 carries at 104 yards.
Right.
He was averaging 6.1 yards a carry, and he had 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving and 1 rushing. I believe that was the difference maker, besides the blunder, of course, that you can put on Kyle Shanahan not paying attention to his game plan, which was running the ball. But I will say this, too. The 49ers, their strength was running the ball, but out of everybody on that team that ran the ball, for the 49ers, the Chiefs held them to just over 100 yards. When the week prior, that team had ran for 400 total yards.
That had $141 total, 58 from Mostert, 53 from Samuel, 28 from Coleman, and 2 from Garoppolo with San Francisco's numbers. 200 yards isn't that good, 19 yards, but so are we putting? Is Garoppolo the game manager type now? Is that what we're looking at? That he can get there?
Well,
I think as far as them going, like, he had a lead of 20-10.
Well,
as far as he's concerned, that defense and his coach let him down on play calling. I think, and I also think it was a bad matchup for their zone as opposed to that team. Like, if that's any other team besides the Chiefs and they're really good play calling and their speed, I think San Francisco wins that game because they can stay in their zone. Richard Sherman was outspeed. No matter who they put him on, was faster than him.
Well, everybody on the offensive side of the ball for the Chiefs is faster than any defensive back that you have. Sammy Watkins can run a 4.3.
So when you play,
Nicole Hardman's a 4.3 runner, and really Tyreek Hill probably runs sub 4.3, mid 4.2.
Mm-hmm.
He's that fast.
And Mahomes, what he does, I think, well, is
I love when he rolls
people talk
out.
about his rolling. His running. You're exactly right. He runs the right way.
He keeps his eyes downfield.
He runs sideways in the pocket 1st, looking for a receiver as
Yeah.
opposed to tuck and go.
I agree.
Lamar Jackson, Michael Vick will tuck and go. I'm talking Mahomes. You're supposed to use your feet, and this is what I thought made Aaron Rodgers good, not his arm or anything else. I thought what he did well was and Romo used to do the same thing, is that avoiding sacks in the pocket, getting your receivers open extra time, because almost I'd say 50% of the time your pocket's not there. You just drop back and somebody gets beat almost about 50% of the time. So a lot of times you got to move, and I think Mahomes did an outstanding job, Hunter, moving behind the line of scrimmage to find a different spot to throw it. And I thought San Francisco were in trouble because here's what it is, Hunter. Once you a scrambling quarterback, once he gets out of the pocket, so you're in a zone, right? So you're dedicated to this zone, but him running makes the up zone defenders have to make a choice sometimes.
They have to either commit to him or commit to the receiver.
Right. And I just think it was a 100% bad matchup zone to man wise. We talked about that Friday, that it could be a bad matchup for them. But it wasn't a problem until the fourth quarter, really. It just wasn't. And then Shanahan just kept calling pass play.
Besides what Shanahan did in the second half, because they had a great third quarter, it really just came down to what he did in towards the later half of the fourth quarter. What I think really was a big momentum shifter in this game was, to me, the weak offensive pass interference call on George Kittle, who made that catch towards the end of the first half, before halftime.
I agree with the call.
I don't agree with the call. I don't agree with it. I don't think it was that forceful. But to me,
all right,
if they don't
Hunter, on your opinion, then that means you think he obviously pushed off, right? So you said it wasn't that forceful.
No, I don't think he pushed off. I think he'd already had his arm extended.
Right there. I want to show you something. Lean over here to me. If I just do this and the quarterback throws the pass to here, I'm not pushing you.
No.
But you can't get the ball. So my point is, that's pass interference on offense. Pushing the defender, touching the defender, and keeping him boxing out. But what you're allowed in the rules, Hunter, is the space. Kind of like in basketball and defense. Like a defender, if he's standing still in his space, you can't run into him. But if he moves, that's a different space. So what that is, like I said, all I'm doing is it's if I just put my arm on you and put it here, if I'm the quarterback, I would just hit that every time.
Right.
And then he pushed too. I just, as a DB, and I played DB, wide receiver, and quarterback, I said that's pass interference. And that's why I lost my mind on the Vikings one. Well, on against the Saints, because that one was way worse.
Regardless on whether everybody thinks it was or it wasn't, if they don't call that, then they have the opportunity to just go ahead and try and get the field goal. And you go up 13-10, and you have the extra 3 points going into the second half, and say the second half plays out how they did until the final 7 minutes.
If they had that extra 3 points, Terry would have got to score exactly right.
Well, if
he had 31-23.
Yeah, you're right. I was close. I had 32-24, but to me, that was just a big difference maker because it took the air out of San Francisco at the time, and it would have put a bigger damper on Kansas City. I know you only would have been down 3, but you were down 3, and 49ers get the ball to start the second half. And the 49ers, as well as they are running the football, they can move the ball at ease. The problem that Kansas City was really having is they could not stop the edge when it was a little sweep pass or however they wanted to use Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
They could not stop Deebo Samuel at all. They had answers for Mostert and they had answers for Coleman early, but they could not stop Deebo Samuel. Just whatever motion that Kyle Shanahan put in there, they weren't ready for it. But I think the Chiefs played well enough that they could win this. They could win this game. I don't think it was just given to them. There wasn't really necessarily a play in the game that you can say, that gave the Chiefs the game. Some could say the first touchdown by Damian Williams was questionable, whether or not he got the ball across the paint.
I don't think he got it.
I don't think he did either.
That would have put a decision maker on Reed, but I'm sure he would have went for fourth and an inch.
Fourth, yeah. And
listen,
quarterback sneak Patrick
Kansas
Mahomes
City, once inside the 20, is about unstoppable.
Mm-hmm. How do you want it? How do you want it?
And here's the thing, Hunter. Once you get closer to the goal line, you have to play more man-to-man. You can't play zone
they'll sit
in the goals.
they'll just sit in the
Yes.
holes.
Well, you can just cross in holes, right? So you have to play man once you get closer. Well, San Francisco is not good at man.
No.
So once you got down there, and on the touchdown runs and the plays, if you'll just watch the plays, the play fakes and the design of the plays, I just want to give credit to both teams. Actually, are the running games and the play action. I think the coaches do an outstanding job to where they drew up, I don't know how many plays that involved multiple fakes last night to different people. And all those goal line plays, Kansas City had people going out every which way. There was one play on one of those drives there late that Sherman is the second touchdown. That's what it was near the end of the game. The one that gave him the lead. Is the one that gave him the lead. What they did, Hunter, is Sherman was man up on the guy outside. I think it might have been even Kelsey. And that guy, I think it was Kelsey, ran like 4 yard in and just stood there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what he did was Richard was on the corner. He was the only person out there. So it brought him inside, and they swung the back out, but they weren't in man. They were in zone, and that was Richard's flat. So when he followed the only receiver in, he didn't see the running back come up under and head out into the flat. And if you'll watch at the end of the play, that's the play where his face is in the ground diving for the touchdowns that he didn't make it.
I didn't think Damian Williams got in on that swing pass, but I told the people I was watching the ball with, I said, this call is going to be stands. They're not going to confirm it, and they're not going to turn it over. They didn't have enough evidence, and it's hard to tell whether or not his toe touches that white before the ball, even the tip of it crosses the line. And to me, some people might out there, 49ers Nation might out there be saying, well, that call right there really screwed us. But at the same time, you had Damian Williams scored a 36-yard run on you the next play after Garoppolo threw the interception. So even if they don't score there, if it still plays out and Garoppolo throws the interception, you still lose the game.
I think
just
they need to find a better way on the goal line to confirm those calls. As far as they've tried with the pylon cameras, but here's what I don't get: we have a lot of technology. We have barcodes and scanners that beep. We can scan our phones with our QR codes.
Sensor that goes off.
There is no way we can't come up with some type of sensor system, whether it's electronic or even magnetic. Because what if you put just a needle in a glass or whatever, just a piece of plastic on top of the pylon, and it was magnetic? And all that would happen is you just put a metal strip inside the ball, and if the ball is anywhere near it, that magnet will move on it.
You could do
but
this.
But either way, that's what I'm saying is that there should be some way, electronically or magnetically to
they
do
could
that.
probably do it. Think about it. We put microchips in animals, and they're very small and just underneath the skin. Well, you could put a chip on both ends of the football, just the tips of the oval. So as soon as that tip crosses the goal line, that chip and another sensor's reading it, and then there you go. A light will go off and be like, touchdown.
I think we'll end up getting that at some point.
We will.
And then
they're talking about
once they
bringing in
do
Sky
that,
Judge,
once
too.
they do that, Hunter, if they can figure that out, they'll take the chains away too, because then you can GPS the ball, basically and then 10 yards away.
Well, I have no problem with that. It would be more accurate than just a judgment call, really. And that's the thing. Do you want? Well, that's why a lot of people don't like replay, because it's taking the human out of the game. I think that's fine, though. Would you not want to get the call right and instead have
I like the call
people...
right. I don't like some of the dumb rules,
well,
and that's the problem.
Right.
The pass interference rules are just stupid to me. And here's against the defense, and here's why. It could be 3rd and 30, and you run a 5-yard slant or a 7-yard slant, and I pass interfere with you, and it's an automatic first. Every
down.
defensive penalty is an automatic first down almost, and that drives me nuts. I don't mind the pass interference if you throw it 40 yards downfield and get it, and that's the spot fight. I don't care about that. I care about those little 5-yarders, like on 3rd and 15, and it gives you automatic first down. Because if you hold, if you call, well, if the defense gets called,
defensive holding is
whatever
like a
you
first
get
down, but offensive holding is only like a 5-yard, 10-yard penalty.
And repeat the down.
Yeah,
I think there's a saying in the refereeing business called "screw the defense" or "screw the offense, screw the defense." I'm getting it one way or another. I know I'm right, but either way, that's how the rules are set up. And I don't like the illegal contact as an automatic. It give them the 5 yards, but the automatic first down is just ridiculous because most of the illegal contacts or holding on defense are away from the ball. Pass interference is specifically on the ball. So the rule used to be, Hunter, when I was playing defense, and I'm playing corner. So, and this gave people an advantage to where you didn't like if Tyreek Hill's faster than me, I didn't really care because there's techniques and ways I can take away everything. But and I was talking the other day about maybe 1 or 2 passes because you can put your hands on. It's like basketball hand check with the hand check rules. You used to get hand check on defense. So as long as the ball wasn't in the air, you could do whatever you wanted. It was football.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then when the ball was in the air, if it wasn't towards you, you could still push people or whatever. And Tom was talking about the James Harrison hits the other day, and I'm like, I actually don't mind them because and he's like, what? And I'm like, you're supposed to have your head over on a swivel. Like, and he's like, well, what about the passes that are high or whatever? I was like, well, the quarterback shouldn't throw a bad pass. Just put it this way. That's what coaches have told me. If you don't want your receiver to die, don't throw it high. Throw it low where he can go down and get it, throw it away from him. And there's a bunch of just different little rules, and then you can hold on every play until they feel like you can't, and then they throw it. The hand to the face mask of the quarterback is inconsistent as can be. Some plays they call it, some plays they don't. The quarterback sliding rules, I think we need to change that. Here's why. Because the quarterbacks can mess around so much, and we looked at Trevor Lawrence in the championship, or was that the championship game? Or that was the game before against Ohio State. And then Cam a few years back against Denver. When the quarterbacks protect themselves, they are ducking actually into the line of fire. Yeah. Especially if you're bigger than somebody like Cam. Like if Cam stood still, they hit him in the ribs or chest, he's okay. But if he ducks and they hit him in the face, now there's a flag. What if we just took the slide rule out? That's what I want to do. Once you cross the line, this is football. Once you cross the line of scrimmage, and that could be something the XFL could maybe experiment with, is taking the slide rule for quarterbacks out. Why do they have a special rule or giving your slide? And I guess everybody can do it, but nobody else does.
Yeah, I was about to say everybody can do it.
Right. There's a difference, I think, between slide. I think they should take the slide rule out and say you have to take an actual knee. Yeah. Like, when you go back and you take a knee after hiking the quarterback, if you're running 10 yards, you got time to take a knee.
Yeah.
More power to you. But if you're going to just slide at the very last second, because you got to remember, these DBs got to make a choice.
This is split second.
They're coming at full speed, and at the very last second, is this quarterback going to stand up, try to juke me, try to run through me, which he's not going to, or is he going to slide and duck? And as a defender, I think that just it's too quick to make that decision sometimes, and they're worried about safety, and I think that might cause more problems. If you had no sliding, then everybody gets hit.
I was say, if you have no sliding, then there's no late hit to the head,
right?
Like because
you're a runner.
The defensive back is already having to go down at you when you're sliding. What's the highest thing on somebody when they're sliding? It's their head. That's going to be the first thing that gets made contact with. It'll cut down on really silly concussions.
That's my new rule of the day. No sliding in football.
No sliding. When it comes to the Super Bowl, Kansas City and San Francisco, obviously everybody wants to scream, Garoppolo isn't good enough to win you a Super Bowl. Well, it seems like he was obviously good enough to help get you to a Super Bowl. Here's the question. Kyle Shanahan has got ties to Kirk Cousins, obviously, from their time in Washington. Jimmy Garoppolo's contract technically is fulfilled in April, and they can move off of him if they want to. Could you see them? And I just was saying Kirk Cousins because this is really a two-part question. Do you think San Francisco could have won this Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins? And two, do you think San Francisco moves off of Jimmy Garoppolo? They don't have to pay him all that extra money.
Yes and no. I think any quarterback in the league could have about won that game. They were up 20-10.
Yeah.
He was winning. I mean, granted, let me say this. Both teams come in the game, Hunter, averaging 19.3 and 19.4 on defense. Kansas City gave up 20.
Yeah.
Their defense played their average game. Their San Francisco defense did not. They give up 31. Now, the Cousins thing, I have no problem with. Listen, if Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson can win Super Bowls, almost every quarterback that's starting can win a Super Bowl. If your defense and run game is good enough, you can win the Super Bowl. The question everybody wants to know probably is Garoppolo more Rex Grossman or more Peyton Manning where I come back after a loss and make the run? And I think that's where when you say can a quarterback win it We always talk about, well, can this guy win it? Can that guy win it? And like I said, Trent Dilfer, he was 47% passer in one Super Bowl. 40. That's Tebow. Tebow won a playoff game over the Pittsburgh.
Well, if you're San Francisco,
Steelers.
and you obviously see that after April, if you wanted to, you could move off of
Right.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
I got a different person for you.
Do you? This was something that I had heard. Do you go after Tom and try and bring
That's
Tom
what I
home?
was about to say. That's the one that's what Skip's pushing. Skip Bayless is pushing.
The team is good enough, you
is San
obviously can
Francisco
see, to get to
having
the
Brady.
Super Bowl. Would Tom consider going and playing for his hometown team in San Francisco?
Hunter, is Garoppolo more the reason they lost last night, or is Richard Sherman more the reason they lost last night?
Or is it Kyle Shanahan?
How many points was scored on Richard Sherman's side of the field?
I'm not sure. I really don't
I
know
think
how
all
many
of them.
scored. Or
He's on the
scored
left
his
side. He's on the left side of the field. And I think Kelsey was on that side. The swing pass was on that side.
Patrick Mahomes got, if I'm not mistaken, the one he beat with the fake on the option play was Sherman.
All right. So both the receiving touchdowns were on that side.
Mhm.
So and he got beat a couple of times there late in the game. Sammy Watkins beat him. Hill beat him. Everybody beat him. So to me, as far as San Francisco is concerned, the fact his contract's up is different than if it isn't. So if he's under contract for 2 years, you just play it.
Right.
But it is kind of
Well, you
the
gotta,
situation
and
is
you
because
gotta
there's
remember,
15 available quarterbacks.
And you got to
about.
remember, who do you think? You could bring another guy in there and set up a similar contract for them. And this is what I want to get to.
I guess
well.
it's going to depend on whether Shanahan likes Garoppolo or not. I think that's
everything.
That is everything.
That's
with them.
everything. The 49ers, to me, though, and I tweeted this last night after the game. I said, if you are the 49ers, the whole organization, and whether you're fans too, I know it hurts to lose the Super Bowl, but you have nothing to hang your head on. And this is why. I want people to remember this. The 49ers last year won 4 games. The next year, they made the Super Bowl.
Yep.
They legitly tripled the number of wins they had last year in 1 year. And guess what? They're bringing back, if not every single player on this roster next year, including
What was
who
the
they
difference
can
between
do
last year's team and this year's? Bosa? Is that
Nope.
it?
Well, but they did draft Bosa, and
Garoppolo didn't play the whole
Nope.
season. That's what it was.
Garoppolo had an ACL tear last year.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So they
They
had
added a quarterback
list.
and a defensive rookie of the year
Yeah,
and made the Super Bowl.
that's what it was. And think about it. The defensive rookie of the year is
Oh,
on our
Redskins, there
rookie
you go.
contract.
There you go, Redskins.
We got yeah. Hey, there you go.
Get you a good quarterback and draft
Chase Young.
the defensive player rookie of the year. And all of a sudden, folks, the Washington Redskins are going to be in next year's Super Bowl.
We won 3 this year. If we win 9 next year, that's all that really matters. No, seriously, think about it. If we win 9 next year, then that shows that formula can work. Because it'll be back-to-back years where you've seen a team triple the amount of wins due to a good quarterback and a defensive end, or the defensive rookie of the year. So if you're a 49ers fan, what I'm getting at is this was not a bad year for you. This was a fantastic year for you. And if anything, this should give you hope that you can make it again next year. I know the NFC's loaded, but you're still going to have an opportunity to be there in playoff time, at least with either a first or a 1 or a 2 seed, at least with a first-round bye. I could see them doing that.
I can see San Francisco, Hunter,
Pulling a Rams.
missing the playoffs. It's a good division.
It is a good division.
Rams are good. Cardinals coming on.
The Rams
Seahawks
have got an offensive line problem, and they've got an identity problem. That's what the Rams have. The Cardinals are still a year or 2 out from being anything. They have a lot of needs they have to address, not only on the offensive line situation. They need receivers, and they need a true running back that they want to stick with. I don't know if they're sold on Kenyon Drake, and David Johnson is always hurt. And what I mean by they need a true receiver is how much longer are you expecting Fitzgerald to stick around? He's going into year 17 right now. Like, maybe if he is so.
Oh yeah, I think this will be his last year.
He's coming up. If not this year, it's next year. So you've got a lot of stuff to address for the Cardinals. If you're sold on Kyler Murray, great, he can play, but that's on you. And then the Seattle Seahawks, they will always seem to be competitive because Russell Wilson will make them competitive. They just were hit with the injury bug all year long.
So San Francisco's wins this year. They beat the Steelers by 4.
Mm-hmm.
Redskins 9-0.
Yeah, that was that. No, seriously, they beat us 9-0, and it was a torrential downpour. The field was
Right.
so wet that after the game they were using it as a slip and slide.
So they beat the Cardinals by 3 and by 10. So close games.
Mhm.
They lost the Seahawks by 3 and then beat them by 5. So close games. Beat the Rams by 3 and by 13, decisive there. So half to 4 of the 6 conference division games
Yeah.
were all within 5 or so points, really. So they're not, they got a 13-3 record, but I mean, they beat the Saints by 2.
Yeah.
48-46. Like all these, a lot of close. Count the wins under 5. Seahawks won. Rams, Saints, Cardinals,
Washington.
and Steelers. They had 5 wins.
Yeah.
5 points. The Panthers, when they made the Super Bowl, did that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did. John Casey, in the first one especially, they won games 3, 4, 5 points at a time. So there's 5 games right there under 5 points. How about under 10? We got a couple of those to add to it. Steelers, there's game 6. I think there's Cardinals, there's 10. So there's 2 more games. So half their games are 10 points or less. In the wins.
Mm-hmm.
That's 7. Golly.
You still got to win.
I know. But what I'm saying
Still
is
gotta
that
win.
next year, they could easily
No,
be. That's what I mean by they can miss the playoffs next year.
I can see that too. Just what I've seen from them, this style of offense works. It's reliable. Kyle Shanahan is still probably the smartest offensive play caller in football besides Andy
I was about to
Reid.
say.
Besides Andy Reid.
And Bieniemy.
And, well, that's the offensive coordinator for them, so yes. And I think Salah and that defense is going to be the best defense in the NFC West. I still think the 49ers have the best defense.
Does Sherman got any more years left?
And what's bad about the Rams now are cap stuck. They have paid for so many players, and they have given up so many draft picks for some of those players. They're essentially stuck with the roster that they have and
Right.
whatever few draft picks that they have.
Yeah, they went 9-7 last year.
That's what they're going to try and work with. I'm not sure if Whitworth on their offensive line is going to retire. That's an offensive line position that needs to be filled. Well, if I'm not mistaken, they don't have a first-round pick this next year. So they're not going to be able to get a real good offensive lineman in the first round. I know not every great player comes from the offensive line, from the first round, but still, those are usually where the best players are at in the first round. So that's just what I'm looking at when it comes to the Rams. I think the surprise team next year could be Arizona, depending on the moves that they make. If they make any moves when it comes to free agency, moves definitely with what their draft picks are. So they could be interesting as well. But you also have to think, do you really trust the guy who was fired from Texas Tech and was almost hired as an offensive coordinator at Southern Cal, but then came to be a head coach at Arizona? Never had a winning season at Texas Tech. Almost was the offensive coordinator before he got the head coaching job at a college-level school. So are you sold there for Arizona's head coach? I don't know why his name escapes me. I know who it is. He's the good-looking guy. He's kind of young like Sean McVay and Jim. Think about that. Think about that.
Talk about Cliff Kingsbury?
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury. There you go. Yeah, young guy. Yeah, but what I'm getting at is I want you to think about that too, about the NFC West. Outside of Pete Carroll, the other 3 head coaches are like what, all in their 30s?
I mean, do you know McVay was like the grandson of one of these owners, like the San Francisco's 49ers owner?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Wow.
They showed a picture of him yesterday, and they're like, "Why is he?" And they said, "Something with grandson. Was McShay was a grandson of something." I can't remember which owner it was, but I think it was San Francisco. Though.
So you mean McVay?
Yeah, that's not McShay.
Yeah, you said I was
McVay.
Like Todd McShay.
No, McVay.
Yeah. But you want to know what's so crazy too? McVay, Shanahan, both got out of the grasps of Dan Snyder and went and had success. Imagine that. Imagine that. But I want, a lot of people talk about how strong Andy Reid's coaching tree is. The coaches that have been able to come out underneath him and stuff. Mike Shanahan has got just as strong of a coaching tree because he's got not only his son, obviously, and Kyle, LaFleur was there as well as a young offensive assistant who's the coach in Green Bay
could
underneath McVay and Kyle
You
Shanahan.
can almost do that under every coach that's coached more than 10 years.
Yeah.
Because what they do is, because that means, A, they're successful, right?
Mhm.
And then what happens to successful teams? The
They-
coaches get poached.
Yeah.
So for years
They
and years
do that.
and years,
They do that with the
Yeah.
Alabama coaches all the
Yeah.
time, and Clemson's going to start feeling it too. You got a successful organization. You got great coordinators. Somebody's going to say, "Hey, well, maybe he can come and be our head coach." So, but what's so funny though? You think about that. It's one thing for them to, of course, coach under those great coaches. It's another thing for them to go out and be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, Kyle Shanahan has shown he can be successful. McVay has shown he can be successful. And Matt LaFleur has shown he can be successful. Granted, they're all in great situations. But what's the one coaching tree that everybody says, oh, no, the coaches that come out from underneath him really aren't that great?
That's Belichick.
Yeah, that's Belichick. That's Belichick. And the ones that come out from Andy Reid are supposed to be really good, too. Doug Peterson won it with the Eagles. Matt Nagy had a great year last year, or not this past season, but the year before with the Bears. Ron Rivera was underneath Andy Reid as well.
I
He's
did
made
see
a
that.
Super Bowl.
I think he's got 4 coaches under him that's made or won a Super Bowl, which is pretty good. Looking online, what for you folks watching online, I know you can't see my mouse because Hunter hid that. I gotta fix that so I can point at stuff. I didn't even know he was wearing a San Francisco hat.
Have you not seen him wear that hat?
I thought that was like a honestly, you know what it was? I thought it was a sponsored hat.
You thought
Like
he was
Vans or something like that.
no,
Like it looks like a skateboard hat, does it not?
That's his hat.
It don't look like I can't even tell. For you folks watching online, can you even tell that says SF on it?
I follow,
it's so small.
Obviously, I like listening to sports podcasts, but I follow one that's kind of like spoofy. They kind of make fun of people. And they were like, so eventually in the Super Bowl, he's just going to wear a red hat that doesn't have a 49ers sign on it because it seems like every week the 49ers symbol just gets smaller and
It's just the
smaller
size of a
on
postage
Kyle
stamp.
Shanahan's hat.
You folks watching online, just look. Let me get back up here. What is this? What is this hat? I don't know what that is. It's a black postage stamp, and San Francisco's in there somewhere.
Man,
There's you go.
the Hulk. Full cage match bidding war.
I'm gonna have to read that story. You folks watching
this
online, can see it.
1982 Hulk Hogan card.
I may have that. That's what's bad. Well, somebody I know may have that. There's a great chance.
But okay, so with that,
We'll talk to cousin
I'll
Zach
say-
when he gets here
Yeah.
Wednesday. Like,
I'll
there's a
say
really
this.
good chance he might.
I'll segue to this now. For those of you that are tweeting, damn, we got to wait 7 months for football again. The XFL starts this Saturday. I want to just keep reminding you that. Let's not forget. Let's not act like that's not football. And also, now we all get to partake in mock drafts for the next 2 months. Who's going to go where? Who's going to go to who? What does your team need and what do they really go after? They obviously won't fill any team needs. They never do that, it seems like.
Who, yours?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
I've got my Browns hat on today because, Hunter, today,
Yeah.
officially, the Browns are in first place.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Browns
I
are
know
in
what
first
you
place
mean.
right
I know
now.
what you mean. For the 2020 season.
Panthers are in last
Officially.
right now, tied for last. Panthers and Cowboys are tied for last right now. Browns are tied for first. True or false, Hunter? True or false, Hunter? We're gonna play that game Saturday.
True or false?
I'm gonna do that for Terry
True
on
or
Saturday.
false?
Terry, true or false? Are the Dallas Cowboys and Carolina Panthers currently tied for last?
Yes.
True or false? Are the Cleveland Browns currently tied for first?
Yes.
Okay, both of those answers meant true. But
Yes.
for you not play
True.
to play the game,
True.
it's true or false.
True.
But yeah, so that's the now is the until August is the best time to talk smack for any team because you can say just that. Well, my team's tied for first. Your team's tied for last,
That's exactly right. There you go.
and you'll never be wrong.
My team, though, unfortunately, if you were to go by names, is last because we're the W. We begin with a W. Washington. We're
Are they
last.
on the end?
We are last. We're
You're
we
not
are on
under
the end.
Redskins though.
No, not if we're no. Well, no.
There's a bunch
because
of S's
Titans.
behind it.
Yeah, Seahawks
S's,
and Titans.
Titans.
Yeah, I had to think about that.
We'll
So
go
yeah,
through those real
we go
quick
by
here,
Washington.
Who
We got-
comes after Redskins in alphabetical order? Steelers, Titans, Texans, Seahawks. Mention them. Saints. Not Panthers.
The Raiders come before us.
And the Ravens.
Nah. Dang it. Oh, well. But it will be fun to see mock drafts. If you guys, if any of you are draftaholics, you'll go out there and act like you know what you're talking about, like you've watched all these players in college. See, that's what's so, like, I like trying to decipher who's going to go where based on other people's mock drafts, because I can sit here and tell you, no, I did not watch such and such from the University of California, Berkeley, or something like that. I did not watch him at USC. We were on the East Coast. We do not stay up that late to watch West Coast games. I'm sorry. It's one of those things. So I leave it to everybody else, and then I judge based on, okay, well, what does this team really need? Who are the highest graded players that we've graded so far? And then from there, I'll pick. And I think that's what everybody should do. So don't go out there and act like, oh, yeah, I saw him play at Texas Southern. I've seen a lot of Washington fans are all crazy about this last night. This guy's like an outside linebacker. He led the nation in tackles for New Mexico State.
That's cute. Pick Chase Young. Now,
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about
You
for
talking
our
about
first
second
pick.
round?
Yeah, maybe second
I
round.
was
And
I
I'm
was
sitting here
about
and
to say-
I'm saying like, man, don't act like you watch New Mexico State play. Y'all are located on the East Coast. I mean, don't act like it. Now you can watch his highlights. Yeah, he looks really nice, and he's very well spoken, and he led the nation in tackles. But whoa, now let's not go crazy and act like Chase Young is not sitting right there, who played at Ohio State, and everybody in the world could see him play.
Yeah, the most important picks for you guys are going to be second and third round. Because you have first of all, when you have a top 10 pick, we have top 10 picks. Though all three of those should be starters, no questions. You put in starters. Then after that, those guys should be able to contribute something.
Yeah.
Even if you pick a quarterback in the 5th or 6th round, like I think y'all should in there. But the first 3 picks, if y'all go defense, probably need a tackle.
Listen, we might need a left tackle if we can't fix the Trent Williams situation, but
But here's the thing with you guys, if the way I would do it with y'all, you guys like spending money on random stuff.
yes, God, Dan Snyder loves to spend that money
If you're smart, you'll draft the defense and spend the money
on the offense.
offensive line, because the good linemen have to be paid no matter what, and they're always paid.
You want to know what story I read this week?
Oh, God.
Or this weekend? Alex Smith trying to make a comeback.
Yeah, I
Dude,
don't doubt it.
Man,
Y'all want him back?
I'll be honest with you, as a Washington fan, no.
No. Okay.
And this is what's so crazy. I will take it like this. I would like him as a mentor position, or maybe a front office position with Washington, maybe even a quarterback's coach. Do I want him out there on the field where he's probably going to be gun shy about anybody that goes at his legs?
I got a place for him. New England.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They've got a great offensive line. And see, that's another thing, too. If I'm Alex Smith, I'm really considering what my offensive line situation is going to be
Colts.
like. I don't want to go out there. They have probably the best offensive
What
line
about
in
Alex
football.
Smith and the Colts on the turf?
I don't see why not. If he really wants to make a comeback, Alex, I'm going to be honest with you. And it's just, because I like your game. You're decent, okay? You can go out there and win a lot of football games. But I don't think for you and being in Washington is going to be a great fit unless it's as a mentor or as a quarterback's coach. Go out there and teach Dwayne. You know why? Because our offensive line is not strong in the pass game. Yeah. Do you want to go out there and be, scared every drop back if you're going to get hit in the leg? I think he still has – because we traded for him. So whatever his contract was with the Chiefs, we obviously have to honor it. So I think he's still under contract.
Well, let's see what he says here on the magical internet. In
magical interwebs.
In December, Alex Smith gives an update. I'll get you that in just a second as soon as it comes up. The real MVP, according to Bill Barnwell, is Chris Jones, the defensive tackle.
I have Chris Jones on here.
Chiefs.
I said Chris Jones for the Kansas City Chiefs had 2 big tipped passes or batted down passes. I thought he did a great job. I wasn't going to give him my MVP. My MVP to me was Damian Williams.
Yeah.
But, they at halftime, they said it opened up to MVP voting. If they do it like for fan voting, I know everybody wanted to vote for Mahomes because they didn't know who Damian Williams was. But Damian Williams had a great game. And I actually have a list of Super Bowl MVPs pulled up. Last year's Super Bowl
Most
MVP.
of the time, it's not really. It's either the quarterback or someone you've never heard of.
Yeah. Last year's Super Bowl MVP is someone you have heard of. Let's not forget the score was 13-3 Patriots over the Rams, but Julian Edelman won it last year. 10 catches and 141 yards. Didn't even have a touchdown. 10 catches for 141 yards. And we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, who had 2 interceptions, only completed 62% of his passes, had less completion percentage than Garoppolo, got the MVP over Damian Williams, who averaged 6.1 yards per carry, had 2 total touchdowns. Really, the game's ceiling touchdown with a 38-yard run, and ran for over 100 yards.
Yeah.
He had over 140 total yards. So, kind of equals out to what Julian Edelman did last year. People want to say, "Oh, well, you got to give it to the quarterback because he orchestrates the offense." It's like, well, I get that, but it has shown last year. Why did you give it to Julian Edelman when on the only scoring drive of the game, like legit touchdown, Tom Brady completed the long pass to Gronk? Like, you could have easily given it to Tom Brady. You give it to Julian Edelman. I don't want to hear that comparison.
Cowboys Super Bowl versus the Steelers. We talked about it the other day with Larry Brown getting the MVP, and the only reason he got the MVP. The first pick was he did kind of well. The second pick, O'Donnell overthrew a guy and threw it right into his chest. So did they win that game because Larry Brown just happened to be standing in the same place and he got the MVP over what, let's see, Super Bowl, is it 30? They played each other. Yeah, I'm gonna pull this up real quick and see if I can get some stats on it because I wanted to know exactly what everybody did in the game for him to get the first down. So Emmett only had 49 yards and Troy 209 and one touchdown. Michael Irvin had 75 yards, but he didn't have a touchdown. Jen Novacek caught the touchdown, 50 yards. So who do you give it to? The guy with 2 picks is who they ended up giving it to. But, I mean, Neil O'Donnell, look at this. 49 passes. Troy Aikman was 15 of 23, 209.
Yeah,
what was Garoppolo's numbers? Right there in Troy Aikman land.
Garoppolo was 20 for 31. Mahomes was 26 for 42.
Almost the exact same. But the difference was those interceptions. And Mahomes threw 2.
Mahomes threw 2 interceptions.
Right,
and the big interception, if San Francisco was able to capitalize on it, was when they were down 20-10.
Hunter, the best player in that game was a Hastings.
It's not you, though.
I know, but Andre.
He had 10 receptions for almost
98 yards.
Well, then we can go back
Look
here.
Look where he went to school, Hunter.
Georgia.
He's a Bulldog. You didn't even know it, did you? You've never heard of Andre Orlando Hastings, have you? I didn't think so when I brought that up. Yeah, Andre Hastings with a big game. If Neil O'Donnell could throw a good pass, we might have had a Hastings.
And if you want to go,
if we had Andre Hastings as the MVP of that Super Bowl, do y'all think I'd ever hear anything? No. We'd have his jersey up here, pictures on the wall.
And if you want to go off, there you showed he was one of the best players on the field. He was at a wide receiver. I mean, Tyreek Hill had 9 receptions for 105 yards.
He probably was the MVP just because not only that, but the defense having to worry about him on every play.
It's like a 3-point shooter. You got to respect him. You got to be out on him, except in this case, with his speed, you got to give him space. And he just had so much space in front of him. But to me, I get it. Patrick Mahomes is the face right now. He's the guy. But to me, and I know he had 3 total touchdowns because I'm not going to dismiss the one that he earned from like the 2-yard line that he ran, but Mahomes to me was not the MVP because a lot of people can look at that game and say he did not play a great game.
Yeah.
He did not play a great game.
All right, Hunter.
Yes.
We did the MVP game. Any other thoughts on the Super Bowl right now before we move on?
Well, I'll keep it with the Chiefs. You made a point last week on Friday, and you mentioned it Saturday, and Terry about fell out of his chair. And I'll just bring it up again. Do you now, after this game, is Patrick Mahomes on the Mount Rushmore of Chiefs?
I get he has to be. He takes Priest Holmes' spot. We had Lynn Dawson, Derek Thomas, and
Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez right in front of me here. And we had Priest Holmes and Larry Johnson on the honorable
the other
mention.
four, the possible 4 spots.
And then Mahomes takes it. So, I mean, you're Super Bowl MVP. You've thrown 50 touchdowns in a season, 5,000 yards.
Think about it. MVP.
First win in 50 years for the franchise.
MVP in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
In 3 years, MVP, Super Bowl, and Super Bowl MVP. Dan Marino and Kurt Warner were the only ones to do MVP and make a Super Bowl in the first 3 years. Dan Marino didn't even win the Super Bowl. And now Patrick Mahomes has not only won the Super Bowl, he got the MVP as well of the Super Bowl.
All right, trivia question. Hunter, without looking, don't look at my screen. Don't look at my screen. Close your eyes.
Yes, they're closed. I don't even know what it is.
Who is the last player to win the regular season MVP and the Super Bowl?
There's nothing in the 2010s, is it?
Nope.
Because I wanted to say Peyton.
I'll give you a hint. The first 2 numbers start with 19. It's been 20 years. 20. So for
regular season MVP and won the Super Bowl?
He has not done it in 20 years.
Was it Emmett?
No. He did it, but he wasn't the last one.
He wasn't the last one.
Right. The last one to do that was bagging groceries.
It was Kurt
the summer
Warner.
Before he did it.
So it was Kurt Warner.
It's been 20 years. Well, 21, because we're talking 2020.
Yeah.
It's been 21 years since a player won the MVP
and Super Bowl
and won the Super Bowl.
In the same
year. So that's
year.
the safest bet in NFL next year.
Yeah.
Whoever the MVP is,
they won't win the Super Bowl.
Ain't winning the Super Bowl.
And think about it. Mahomes was a D Ford offsides close to possibly doing it last year. Because he won the MVP last year of the league, and then the next year wins the Super Bowl and the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
He was just a year off, man. He was really close. Another thing you could go with this is people are going to start saying, they brought it up a few weeks ago. Has this officially cemented Patrick Mahomes as the face of the NFL?
Probably. I mean, he smiles, good looking guy, really nice. Talks like Kermit the Frog.
He does.
Everybody.
He does. Dude, did I ever show you?
Let's go deep on one, Miss Piggy. Break.
Did I do Miss Piggy?
That should be their calls.
Did I?
Oh my God! If you got up here on defense and the quarterback starts calling his audibles,
Miss Piggy,
Miss Piggy. We got Gonzo over here. Fozzie the Bear.
Did I ever show you what my picture was in my fantasy league? In my fantasy league, look at my picture in my fantasy league.
Mahomes the Kermit.
It's Mahomes the Kermit.
All right, so let me read. Let's go over
Kermit the Mahomes.
Since 2000, 99 was Marshall Faulk. Kurt Warner. Let's go over the MVPs who then won a Super Bowl later after they won the MVP. Marshall Faulk did not. Kurt Warner did not. Rich Gannon did not. Peyton Manning did.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Alexander did not. Tomlinson did not. Brady did. Rodgers, what year did they win the Super Bowl?
2010.
Okay, so he didn't win a Super Bowl after winning the MVP. Mm-hmm. Peterson didn't. Cam didn't. Matt Ryan didn't. Patty Mahomes did.
Won the year after.
Right. Mm-hmm. So only three players since 1999 have actually won an MVP and a Super Bowl, but none of them in the same year.
This is such a quarterback driven award. This MVP. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Only 2 running backs went back to back. And Sean Alexander was amazing. That was when the Seahawks made a run to the Super Bowl.
It's been the last non-quarterback was Adrian Peterson in 2012. Before that was
a total of 8 years ago.
Yeah, and then before that was LaDainian Tomlinson.
And then Sean Alexander.
Back-to-back years. And then Marshall Faulk in 2000. Looking at the ones, so folks, you want to know real quick, who has won a Super Bowl and the MVP in the same season? It's only happened 5 times. Bart Starr, 1966 Green Bay Packers. Terry Bradshaw, 1978 Pittsburgh Steelers. Joe Montana in the 1989 San Francisco 49ers. Emmitt Smith, of course, in the holdout year MVP season. Hunter, he had 20 rushing touchdowns, I think, 4 years. And his MVP season, he had 9. He won the MVP the season he had 9 touchdowns.
Man.
But he also had 1,400 yards in 14 games.
There you go.
And led the Cowboys to the Super Bowl. Steve Young in 94 the year after, and Kurt Warner. So, folks, 1, 2, 3, 4. I said 5. It's 6. Bart Starr, Terry Bradshaw, Montana, Emmett Young, and Warner
So
are only won it six
and
times in one Super Bowl.
And the MVP of the MVPs, the one with the most valuable player awards, looks like it's going to be Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning has 5 MVPs.
Yep. I'm going to write these down for our show on Saturday. I love give Terry some old notes here on Montana.
Yeah, make him feel good.
And Emmett in 93, Young.
Yeah, okay, I want to bring this
and
up.
Warner.
I want to bring this up. I don't know if my buddy's watching that
99.
said this to me, because we were having a conversation one day. We were talking about, great players and, some of the best quarterbacks ever. And I brought up Steve Young, and he said no. I said, you're dumb, dude. You're dumb. Act like he's not an MVP and a Super Bowl winner.
Right.
Like, how can you
He's
say...
one of 6.
I'm like, how can you say he's not one of the greatest quarterbacks?
He goes in the top 20. I think the one thing that hurts Steve Young more than anything is that he sat on the bench for 10 years, and he played in USFL or whatever. He didn't play. He's, people say the same thing about Kurt
What are you
Warner.
going to do when you back up Joe Montana?
Right.
Like,
People say the same thing about
you
Kurt
replaced one great with another great.
Mm-hmm. Warner had 1 touchdown, 1 MVP. He won the MVP
He
and
won
a Super
the
Bowl in '99.
MVP
Same thing.
Yeah, he won
Young.
the MVP twice. Twice.
And people still won't say he's. There's some people saying he's not a Hall of Famer.
And he made another run with the Cardinals.
Yeah, he lost 2.
Yeah.
He lost with the Cardinals, lost 1 with the Rams, and you know when they started, when the Rams, and here's why the Rams never won. You ready for this one?
I'm ready.
They won it, Hunter, wearing yellow and blue.
They went to gold.
The very next season, after winning the Super Bowl, they changed their uniforms.
To gold.
You can't change you can't change your uniforms after winning the Super Bowl. 2, you can't change the color.
You can't.
The
Yeah.
colors.
And
It's not
then
that they changed the uniform.
and
They
then
changed
guess
the
what?
colors.
And then guess what's so crazy? Then they come out.
They got cocky and
They
went
come
gold.
out.
is
They
what
come
did.
out and wear the blue and gold, or the blue and yellow, to play against the Patriots. They tried to switch it back and they lost. They tried to switch it back and they lost.
Their uniforms now are awful because they don't match any. Their set don't match. They're trying to get in the white helmets in L.A., but they've got a deal with the apparel company that you can't get rid of your jerseys for so many years. So they're sitting there with the. That's why their jerseys they don't match their helmets right now. All right, folks. There's some quarterback. There's your 6 quarterbacks we're watching online. Bart Starr, Bradshaw, Montana, Emmett, quarterbacks, players, Steve Young, and Kurt Warner. Emmett, the only non-quarterback to win MVP and a Super Bowl in the same season. Remember, only 3 MVPs since 2000 have even won a Super Bowl. None of them in the same season. So the safest bet, folks, and let's see, it's only happened 6 times in 54 years.
Bad odds.
What is that? 6 goes into 54, don't it? Or does it? Yeah, it does.
I think it does.
Because 6 times 10 is 9. 6
It
times
is.
10 is 60. There you go. Fuzzy math.
Fuzzy math.
So, yeah, that's a lot. 1 out of every 9 years, Hunter.
1 out of every 9 years.
And it hadn't happened in 20.
Looks like if you make the bet that it's a no, you've got great odds.
Right now, you got a good odds that it's a yes because you're due.
Yeah. Well, but
If
here's
you look at it like
here's the
that.
thing. If you look at it like this,
If you're
though,
due.
too, who's got a great shot of winning the MVP next year?
A
Gotcha.
lot of people.
A lot of people, but
Let's go through it. I tell you what,
Okay.
well, I can do that.
yeah, we can do that. Let's do that. That'll be fun. Who's got a great shot of winning the MVP next year, and who's got a great shot of winning the Super Bowl, to see who the odds would be to possibly break it, or to be the one that has finally done it since the 90s.
I got Lamar Jackson, of course.
He's got an opportunity. Does he have an opportunity to win the Super Bowl? Meh.
I'm leaning towards because I like John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh. He's obviously a decent coach.
Yeah.
He beat his brother. His brother's not in the
did.
league anymore.
He did.
He
He
went
sent him
14-2 this year.
He sent him home.
He sent his brother out of the league and went 14-2 this season. So
Yes.
I gotta. Baker Mayfield, if he wins 11 games, he's gonna be in the MVP talk.
Yeah, if he has
I
good
mean,
numbers,
you just gonna have to say it. Deshaun Watson, Mahomes.
Yeah. Okay, between those 3.
God, the West.
Between
AFC
those
West.
3, who has the better shot of winning the Super Bowl next year?
Well, the
Mahomes?
Chiefs.
I was supposed to say, did Watson, Mahomes, or Baker?
Oh, definitely the Chiefs.
Okay, so
That's the only people in the AFC.
that's what I was kind of getting at.
What about Sam Darnold? What if they go 12-4? You know he's going to get MVP votes from from New York. But the thing is, the MVP gets narrowed down. And remember, these are voting. This isn't there's no set stat, no set wins, no set anything. Most of the time, it goes to the player on the team with the winning record, the quarterback on the team with the best record in the league. It happened this year. Happened to Cam. It happens almost every year. The team with the best record, their quarterback gets MVP. Or who were the voters this year? What were it? Mahomes,
Russell Wilson, and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Well, Mahomes
Russell won 11 games.
Mahomes was the talk early, and then Christian McCaffrey's creeped in there because he was working on 1,000.
Kansas City got 12 wins, and Baltimore, you got to win double digits just to get in there. Drew Brees could. It's sad that he's never won. The all-time leader in yards, touchdowns, and completion percentage, and has a touchdown and has a Super Bowl.
Never won an
MVP. Like, so he has to rush for 100 yards to get to MVP. You can throw for 5. If I throw for 5,000, Hunter, and you pass for 3 and run for 1, didn't I still
outthrow
get
you?
Get 1,000 more yards than you?
Yeah.
Like, hello.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So, poor Breeze. Matt Ryan could win MVP.
Yeah, technically, if they get their offensive coordinator situation figured out and learn how to throw the ball back to Julio Jones.
Nobody else. No Tampa, no Carolina. I mean, the Panthers. Yeah, I'm gonna take that out. Cam can win MVP any year he's in the league because if his team wins 11 games, they're going to put him in the conversation. It's not even.
Cam Newton was in the conversation.
It's not even a question.
Cam Newton was in the conversation last year when they went on a 6-game win streak. They won their first 6 games. They were talking about Cam, 2 years. Not this past season. The year before
they were 6.
Yeah, they were 6-2, and they were like, "Well, Cam is on this great run. The team's got won 6 in a row, and then they went on to lose like the next 12."
I mean, I still always think the worst thing that ever happened to him was getting named the MVP. Because if he's not named the MVP and he loses that Super Bowl, doesn't give you more of a chip on your shoulder, more something else to work for. It makes you realize maybe I wasn't good enough. But if I'm named the MVP. And we lose the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Well, it was my teammates. I'm obviously good enough to be the best player in the NFL. Why should I work on my drop back passing? Why should I work on my accuracy? Why should I do any of that? And then anytime you talk to anyone about him, but if you have a conversation with him, Hunter, you got to start this way. I'll talk to you about Cam if you don't use the words MVP or rush.
Yeah.
Now let's talk. Let's talk winning. We can talk winning because he doesn't win. We can talk everything in the world, but if you say the words rush, I'll even give you the rush. I'll say, okay, let's say you use the word rush. But don't say MVP in this conversation and see what happens. Just close your eyes. We'll name the stats. We'll name what they've done. And I've got Andy Dalton out here.
I've got Andy Dalton out here.
That's what I've got.
Who, and in the same amount of seasons, has more winning seasons than losing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the same amount of seasons.
Andy has 5 winning seasons.
They came in the
3.
same year. They came in the same year. Same draft. One of them just happened to be the number 1 overall pick. And the other one was what, second-round pick?
Second round, 3rd or 4th pick.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton is 70, 61, and 2. Cam 68, 55, and 1. Hunter, he said this weekend. I'm going to run here and talk to Randy for just a second. Let you kind of do this.
He
said this weekend
Yeah.
that he expects to be back. That doesn't mean he will be back, and that doesn't mean the Panthers are bringing him back. Everyone else from the 2015 championship team is gone. NFC championship team is gone, but Cam. And we're going to break this down, of course. We really just want him to make a freaking decision. So we quit talking about all these quarterbacks. It's going to be so fun if they move. If everybody just stays the same, we wasted so much time thinking and worrying about it. And I want to. There could be 10, 15 quarterbacks. This whole league could turn over in a way this year between the rookies and the free agents and the trades. It should be so exciting. The reports already that Chargers and Raiders are going to make contacts with Brady. So they're already coming out and saying that. So this year's going to be
exciting. If
all right, can't count for me. New England, Miami,
yes,
Cincinnati,
yes,
Tennessee,
possibly. We'll put
Indianapolis.
Them there. Yep.
There's 5. Raiders.
Technically Jacksonville if they want to. So 6, 7.
Raiders. Chargers will have a new quarterback.
Yeah.
How many's that?
That's 8. We're at 8, and we just got done with the AFC.
Redskins possible.
Okay, we'll put them on there because I put the Jacksonville. That's 9.
Bears possible.
That's 10.
I really don't see the Lions coming off of him, but they have like the 3rd pick in the draft.
11. Possibly.
Tampa,
12.
Carolina.
13.
Nobody in the West is changing.
Nobody in the West.
You say San Francisco possibly could. I don't think they will.
I don't think they will, but
So,
it's interesting.
We could
to
have
know
5 to 13 teams
Mhm.
with brand new quarterbacks.
Yeah, because that doesn't even count. You know, we're talking
Half
about
the league
draft.
almost.
We're talking about the draft. We're not.
Right.
We're not even considering whether teams move off their quarterbacks. Let's not forget Andy Dalton's going to be available. Teddy Bridgewater is going to be available.
I didn't say Cincinnati, did I?
You did.
Did I say Cincinnati? Okay, I was about to say that means there's 9 teams in the AFC.
Yeah.
There's only 16. Well, let's go back to this. We can easily pick the playoff teams.
Yeah.
It's everybody that's coming back with a quarterback.
Yeah.
Bills,
Yes.
Jets.
Nah, really, I don't know. They'll find a way to
Wait a
mess
minute.
something
How many
up.
games did Sam Darnold miss this year with
He
Mono?
He missed quite a bit.
And they won 7 games with him.
Okay, so
They're
that'll
like
be a possibility.
7-2 with him.
Okay,
or
that'll be a
something like that.
possibility.
All right. All right, let's see. Ravens got their quarterback coming back. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Houston. We know 6 teams are bringing a quarterback back.
10 of them are in the air.
Only 6 teams make the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
We know. I'm gonna repeat this. We know 6 teams are making are bringing back. So let's go through this real quick, Hunter. Chiefs,
Yes.
Texans.
Yes. Baltimore.
No, I'm gonna go up here. Chiefs, Texans. That's 2. Let's give it to Buffalo. 3. Let's say Baltimore 4. They're all coming back. That means the final 2 spots are Jets, Steelers, and Browns with returning quarterbacks. Either those are the teams that make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Or we're going to have new quarterbacks.
You want to
new
write this
teams,
down?
We will at it later.
Yeah, we'll have to write this down and make this note. And we will be the ones that can say we first called this.
Right.
But it is interesting because, like I said, people we know what they're bringing through the draft.
Yeah.
But like we just said, Andy Dalton has a winning record and has more winning seasons than losing seasons. Guess what? He's going to be available. Teddy Bridgewater has more wins than losses and took the Minnesota Vikings to a playoff game.
He's 22-12, I think, or something like that.
He also just went 5-0 with the Saints.
Yeah.
In his start
If you're
over Drew
Belichick,
Brees.
are you not looking at Bridgewater?
So hold on. Well, there's Andy Dalton and Bridgewater.
Dalton.
Tannehill is about to be available if the Titans do not
They won't
give him.
They won't touch him. I think the Patriots look at winners.
Oh no, I'm not talking about the Patriots. I'm just talking about players. I'm
Right,
just talking
right,
about quarterbacks right now that are available because we know Phillip
God.
Rivers is available, and if he has come out and said he is not ready to hang up the cleats, and you know what was
Brady,
funny?
Fitzpatrick, Rivers,
Yeah.
Andy Dalton,
Andy Dalton,
Tannehill,
Jacoby Brissett. If the Colts do not
Andrew
retain
Luck
him,
is technically available.
Andrew Luck is available. Yes, you're correct.
Derek Carr. They're saying they're trying to get Brady, so
Derek
he's gone.
Carr might be available.
Chargers are getting Phillip Rivers is available. Dak's going to get franchise tagged, is what they're saying.
I believe he will.
With 50, Hunter, follow me here though. With all these quarterbacks on the market, almost 90% of the time when you have a choice to franchise your quarterback, there's nobody available. So what you can do is you're forced into it and be like, man, we'll just franchise like you guys did with Alex Smith and or Kirk Cousins.
We did it with
Like,
Cousins.
what was your other options besides paying
We
Cousins?
didn't really
then?
have our option with Cousins. And
Look how many options Dallas has,
and you know-
doesn't have to.
and
Say,
this is-
what if Brady says, "I'll be a Cowboy for $25 million," and Dak says, "I want 35."
I get that.
What do you do for Jerry
Here's the
Jones?
Here's the thing too. Dallas essentially franchising Dak Prescott to Prescott. That needs to be a big red exclamation point
Right.
saying they are not sold.
He said
They
if they
are not
franchise
sold.
him and his team will have to sit down and discuss things.
Well, I don't see why not.
I don't know what that
As a
means.
business move,
Right.
if you want to play and think you're good enough to play, I would absolutely. I don't care that you have the big purple blue star on the side of your helmet. If you're not gonna commit to me, then absolutely. That's what Kirk Cousins did after they franchise tagged him. He said, "Look, I'm not waiting around. You guys obviously don't believe in me. I'm gonna
Right.
go and take the money."
Right.
And look at him. He's won a playoff game.
And I think Dallas and Dak are both have a position, but Dallas is very unique this year in the fact that you can go and get one of 14 other quarterbacks in some type of way
Yeah.
if you're not sold.
Dallas doesn't
Dak.
even have an awful draft pick. If they wanted
No.
if they wanted to move off of some of their assets that they might have too much money involved into to make up a little bit more space for a draft pick, you can still do that. Go move up if you want a quarterback. This is going to be fun for people
tell you
that
what.
love to watch free agency.
I'm going to talk to Randy for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I want you to go down, and I'll join you when you're about halfway through, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And pick the quarterbacks for each team.
Pick
don't,
the
don't,
quarterbacks.
Don't elaborate. Just say New England, I think so-and-so.
Okay.
Buffalo, of course, Allen.
Yeah, I
you know what
got
mean?
you. I
Give me
got
one
you. I got you. Okay. So for the New England Patriots, I'm going down just the list. So we're starting the AFC East. The New England Patriots, my gut as of right now says I think Tom Brady is going to be back with the Patriots. That's tough, man. I know not a lot of people really want to get with it, but I think Tom Brady is returning to the Patriots. Buffalo Bills, set. Josh Allen. New York Jets, set. Sam Darnold. Dolphins, here's the thing. A lot of people saying they're going to take Tua. Do not be surprised when it comes Combine Day if Justin Herbert's name isn't whispered a little bit louder with the Miami Dolphins. But going off of what I've seen with a bunch of mock drafts, Tua Tagovailoa will be the one that they draft, but they use Ryan Fitzpatrick to be the buffer to make sure that Tua comes back 100% healthy. The Baltimore Ravens, set. Lamar Jackson. Pittsburgh Steelers, there actually is a big question mark on whether or not this injury to Big Ben's elbow is more serious than people first speculated. So, as of right now, if you were to ask me, I'm saying Ben Roethlisberger, but if not, this is the draft that they need to draft possibly his successor in either the second or third round. Maybe a Jacob Eason out of Washington. We'll see about that. Maybe the Love kid, the quarterback out of Utah State. So that'll be an opportunity for Pittsburgh as well. I could see them going the kid from Utah State just because he's big like Big Ben is, and he's got a huge arm, and he could really withstand the Pittsburgh kind of weather. Cleveland, sticking with Baker for now. I think Baker is really on a shorter leash than a lot of people expect him to be. Cincinnati, I see them going Joe Burrow. That's just because, why not? He had probably the best college career of any quarterback in one season. So, hold on, let me rephrase that. He had the best college season of any quarterback. Not career, had the best college season of any quarterback. Houston Texans, we know exactly who they're going to stick with. It's Deshaun Watson. I don't think Deshaun Watson is the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I will admit that he is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. So, there's no reason for them to move off of him. The Tennessee Titans. This is where we start getting to, okay, maybe these quarterbacks start moving around a little bit. I could see the Tennessee Titans continuing with Ryan Tannehill. Why not? He won you 2 playoff games. Unfortunately, lost you a third. But that's just because you faced the now Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm gonna stick with Ryan Tannehill with the Tennessee Titans. Indianapolis Colts, this is where I'm gonna say Andy Dalton is officially picked up off the market, and he's going to be with the Indianapolis Colts. You give him T.Y. Hilton, great wide receiver. You give them the rookie wide receiver they drafted out of Ohio State that I'm not even gonna act like I remember what his name is, but I know it begins with a P. Okay, you got good running backs, and you've got probably the best offensive line in football in Indianapolis. You've got Jack Doyle at the tight end position. I know they're letting Eric Ebron walk, but it'd be nice if they were able to re-sign him back, or some team's going to re-sign him. Washington go after Eric Ebron at the tight end position. Now let's go to Jacksonville, rounding out the AFC South. Jacksonville, to me, is going to ride with the young gun. I think they're going to stick with Gardner Minshew. They've got Nick Foles on a huge contract. Nick Foles is going to stick around, but I think he's going to have to take more of a mentor position. Who cares, man? Get paid all that money. But he's going to have to take a mentor position. Jacksonville is going to ride it out with Gardner Minshew. Chiefs, we know exactly who they're rolling with. Patrick Mahomes, MVP last year, Super Bowl winner and Super Bowl MVP this year. The Denver Broncos, I think they like Drew Lock, but they're also going to have Joe Flacco on the offense, or on their roster. The question is, does Joe Flacco really think he can continue in a backup position? Because that was one of the main reasons why he left Baltimore. The Oakland Raiders, this is another one I could see some moving around happening. I think the Oakland Raiders stick, though, with Derek Carr for one more year. They're going to, unless they're able to work some sort of magic and get maybe a Teddy Bridgewater to come out to Oakland. Well, I don't know why I'm even calling them Oakland, to come to Las Vegas when they're starting to take over in Las Vegas. I'm not sure. But as of right now, Derek Carr is the guy. The Los Angeles Chargers, Justin Herbert. They're going to draft Herbert, quarterback out of Oregon. But like I said about the Miami pick, Miami picks one spot ahead of the Chargers. So if the Miami Dolphins end up taking Justin Herbert, the Chargers I could see taking Tua. So that's me. They're interchangeable. The Philadelphia Eagles, Carson Wentz. The Dallas Cowboys, franchise tag Dak Prescott. They pay Amari Cooper a lot of money to keep him on the roster. That's going to make Dak mad. We'll see what he does the year after. New York Giants, we know what they're doing. They're going to continue to run with Daniel Jones. Washington Redskins, my team, I want us to stick with Dwayne Haskins at least for another year or two. Got to see what you got in him. You got to give him a little bit more time. You don't waste a first-round 15th pick on a quarterback and not try and make him the quarterback of the future. Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, but I could see them trying to find some sort of quarterback to take over him in the future. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but Jake Fromm is going to be in this draft. Jake Fromm can be a game manager. If you really want to, try and work with Jake Fromm to bring him in as the backup and possibly successor to Aaron Rodgers. Minnesota Vikings are sticking with Kirk Cousins. The Bears, they're cap-strapped. They're stuck with money. They've spent too much of it. They are out of draft picks. They traded too many to get Khalil Mack. The Bears, they have to deal with Trubisky. The Detroit Lions, I'm going to continue with Matt Stafford. The New Orleans Saints, this is where the big question mark lies. Drew Brees is mulling. He is thinking it over for the rest of the month whether or not he's going to retire. If he doesn't retire, it's set in stone. Drew Brees is going to be the Saints quarterback. If he does retire, Sean Payton has come out and said he would not mind Taysom Hill being the successor for Drew Brees. So I'm going to take Sean Payton at his word and say that they would go with Taysom Hill if Drew Brees retires from the Saints. The Atlanta Falcons, we know what the Falcons are going to do. They're going to stick with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is really good. The problem is their offensive coordinator. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, do they stick with Jameis? Do they move off Jameis? If Teddy Bridgewater has not been scooped up from anybody else, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will go after Teddy Bridgewater. And I could see that happening. Teddy is a South Florida type of guy. I could see him wanting to go to Tampa Bay, be able to go play back home. Now I'm on the Panthers. The Panthers have got a huge question mark. I would not hold it past them to at least play Cam out for his final season in his contract, just to see what they can do and see if he can be anything that he could be underneath this new coaching regime and underneath the new offensive coordinator in Joe Brady. If the Panthers do not go with Cam Newton this season, I don't think they do anything in the free agency. I think they just roll with Kyle Allen or Will Grier and try and get ready for the draft next year. The 49ers are set. It's Garoppolo. Seattle, set. Russell Wilson. Rams, set. Jared
NFC
Goff.
West is set.
NFC West is set because the Cardinals are going to stick with Kyler Murray. And that is every team that I just broke down.
You got through them all. I was expecting to get back in for the NFC.
Now,
I can't wait to go back.
Told
So I
me
didn't
to
listen.
get it brief.
So I didn't listen to Hunter because I was talking with one of the broadcasters down the hall about some cars and stuff. He's a mechanic. I had a few issues I had to take care of.
You told me to keep it brief, and I could probably go through here and tell you which ones that I just had somebody getting a new quarterback because I didn't have many of them.
And you got to remember what the rookie's going to be drafted too.
Yes.
Did you put Tua anywhere?
Yeah, I
Did you put him in Miami?
With how I broke it down, I said Tua to Miami, but do not be surprised after the combine if there's more talks about Justin Herbert probably being taken before Tua, just on the fact of injury. So how I put it was Miami is either going to go Tua or they're going to go Justin Herbert. The Chargers are going to be the same way. Whoever gets taken before them, because they pick after the Dolphins, that's the one they're going to take. So they can go Tua or Justin Herbert. I don't like Tua.
I don't like it at all.
I don't like Tua at all. I don't think Tua has got the prettiest throwing motion. They say he's deadly accurate, but I don't think he's got that big of an arm. You're asking me to pick 6'1" Tua Tagovailoa, who is not, and it's not just his height. He's also left-handed. There are not many left-handed quarterbacks in the league. Okay?
Well, first of all,
and
the coaches hate left-handers.
And the throwing motion is not great. You're
Armani,
asking me to pick that over 6'5", mobile, had 2 rushing touchdowns in the Rose Bowl against Wisconsin.
GMs don't like doing
Justin Herbert. I mean, come on now. come on. And it's not like Herbert is playing in bad weather either. I mean, he's going to either wind up in sunny L.A. or Miami. And why would you not want a bigger quarterback in Herbert if you are Miami? Because what's so crazy, Miami in the dang AFC East, and they play 3 Northeastern teams.
What does that mean? Do you know what that means? Ask my dad why I chose Alabama over USC.
I have no idea. Maybe something happened with the USC ADs. I don't know.
I guess I could read the article. I just want folks that are watching on. I know we got our folks listening to the podcast, but if you'll go on Facebook and YouTube during the Tua segment, and I don't know if this is me being picky or me being what, but folks, this is Tua's throwing motion. Now, we can look at his elbow and his hand and ball position and all that, but I want folks to really, really look at his offhand. Look at his offhand. Name one quarterback who makes that hand. Like, nobody does. It's either like a karate chop. Oh, where's my folks watching on TV? Here we go. Let me get back to me. It's either like a karate chop like this or a fist or like this. Nobody ever goes. It looks like he's getting braced for a hit, does he not?
Yeah,
I don't know.
But
I don't know what that
look,
is,
I don't like that throwing motion.
I've never
Do you
seen-
see his arm?
I don't care. Look at his front arm. I can't get to the second arm.
I'm talking about
one.
his throwing arm, man. I can't get with it. And what I want people to understand too is, yeah, okay, it's great. He's pretty accurate. Here's the problem though too. They said the same thing about Joe Burrow, and so I'll bring it up too. You can't act like he hasn't had elite talent all around him.
Mm-hmm.
For God's sakes, they're talking about all 3 of his receivers going in the first or second round. So don't act like he's not got great receivers to throw to that might elevate his numbers. You're going to say the same thing to me about Joe Burrow, but I'll tell you what, at least one of them has got a better throwing mechanic and prettier arm than Tua.
All of them have a prettier offhand than Tua. If you're watching online, look on the page. This is what I think about when I see Tua.
That hand.
Look at the hand. Now, hold on. I'm gonna pull it up. Let's see. Open image. I'm gonna get that in a new tab. There we go. So, Hunter, for you folks at home, I'm looking at Chris Elliott in the Scary Movie movies. If you remember that, for you folks listening, he was the innkeeper and he had a really messed up hand.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's stirring the mashed potatoes with the hand. It's just a fun joke, joke all around.
Yeah.
All right, folks, look online. I'm going back and forth. Look at Tua's offhand, and then now look at Chris Elliott. Offhand, Chris Elliott. I can't get over this, Hunter. Every time I see a picture of him, I look at his off-throwing hand, and as someone who's thrown a football, never in my life have I made that whatever he's doing with his hand.
Yeah. Man.
It drives me crazy. So good luck, Dolphins, if that's what you want.
Yes.
I'm just going to warn you guys. All completely off his offhand. I have nothing else other than that. And there's not too many great Alabama quarterbacks running around the NFL, are there?
No, there's not. There's not.
Do you take that in consideration? Tom poo-poos me when I tell him that you can't trust an Ohio State quarterback. So I was just wondering do you ever think about that?
I'm not thinking about that with Tua. I'm just looking more at mechanics. I'm using my eyes and watching his just as a whole. Because what did they used to say about Tim Tebow's throwing mechanic?
Right.
It was awful. They hated it. His release was too long. It allowed teams to jump in, or DBs to jump in front of the pass faster.
That's the thing on the quick releases and the
I think
and the long throws.
They say for him being left-handed, he's got a quick release, but still.
But what it does, Hunter, is you're exactly right. It allows the DBs to jump them. So when you're guarding someone playing DB, if you're doing a good job, you almost want the quarterback to throw it your way, because then you got a chance to knock it down or even pick it off. If you're getting big, you're like, don't throw it. But if you're playing well, you actually want them to throw it. And so when Tebow goes to wind, that's when, as a DB, you make your break. Is when you see the quarterback drop his elbow in his shoulder like he's going to throw it, and you see that goofy-looking hand from Tua sticking out there.
Yeah.
When you see that hand come out, Hunter, that's when you break on the ball, because it's a timing thing. You don't wait for him to throw the ball and then look at it. If you're breaking on something short, you're looking at the quarterback to turn your way and make that move. and you're 100% right on that. Is that as far as Tebow wise, that killed Tebow. Is that's the biggest thing, is it took him forever to get the ball out of there.
Yeah.
But he threw an accurate deep ball. And he threw just as good as Trent Dilfer. Dilfer won a Super Bowl.
So,
He beat the Pittsburgh Steelers,
he
Hunter.
did. He did.
He didn't beat the Carolina Panthers or
I
the
know.
or some other, or the Cincinnati Bengals.
One other reason.
He beat the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I don't know if you probably didn't hear me say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh God, what was it? Oh, I was talking about how. I'll go ahead and tell you one of the shocking things that I said when I went down my list on where quarterbacks were going to go. I said,
You shocked yourself, huh?
no, well, I thought about it and I was like, well,
Yeah.
this could really make sense. You know, he's got a winning record, got more wins than losses. And Andy Dalton, I said he can wind up in Indianapolis, with the Colts. And then I realized this. I said, well, and he's got a good tight end in Jack Doyle. They didn't re-sign Eric Ebron. I totally forgot that Eric Ebron is available. So Washington, if you're listening, pick up the phone and go get him. You know why? Because Vernon Davis just retired on you.
Ebron's a Tar Heel, right?
He is a Tar Heel.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He's a touchdown
He's
machine
pretty good.
too.
Yeah. I like Ebron.
He's one of those athletic tight ends that are like wide receivers, just bigger. So I liked him. That was the one, you know, because a lot of people said maybe Belichick will make a run for him. I'll be honest, I think he might be just as good of a fit for what they have in Indianapolis than in New England.
I think Andy Dalton's a good fit.
I think Andy Dalton technically could be a good fit with the Chargers.
People hate on him. The first year he won 9. He was 9-7, and then the next 4 years he won 10 games.
Yeah.
So he had 5 winning seasons to start his career. Cam Newton has 3 total in his career. Never had back-to-back winning seasons. Dalton had 5 straight winning seasons.
Andy Dalton had 5 straight winning seasons with Marvin Lewis, and then Marvin Lewis had 2 back-to-back losing years. They let him go. And they brought in Zach Taylor, who's never even been a coordinator. He was a quarterback's coach to be the head coach. So I don't know if they've got the right coach for them in Cincinnati, but I sure hope that they don't ruin Joe Burrow like I'm scared they might.
Burrow wants A.J. Green to be there, but I'm not sure he will be.
And think about it. A.J. Green's going to be available. Get both of them if you're Indianapolis.
I thought you were going to say Washington.
Oh, well, no. Look,
if you're Indian, you can get to pull that off.
Dude, you got T.Y. Hilton on one side, A.J. Green on the other, and the slot receiver they drafted out of Ohio State. Man, that's a Super Bowl team. That's a Super Bowl contending team in the AFC that right now is only dominated by 2 teams. So,
well, only 6 of them's going to have returning quarterbacks.
I'm saying, man.
Year. We're going to talk about that Saturday. We're going to do our preliminary playoff picks where we kick out 6 teams.
Way too early picks.
Way too early playoff picks. But I'm going with all the quarterbacks that are coming back, and it might not even add up.
I don't care. I'm all for it, man. Go for it.
That's crazy. The AFC, half the leagues, half the teams in the AFC is going to change quarterbacks this year, possibly.
Bring it.
Possibly.
Bring it. I like it.
But then again,
it will make next year.
We'll probably have 1, 2.
It will make next year so much more interesting.
We're at least going to have 2 new quarterbacks. We could possibly have 13. Well, I'm going to say we definitely could have 2 in the AFC. We'd possibly have 10 in the AFC.
Oh my word! And you didn't hear. I don't know if you heard me say this too, but when I got to Pittsburgh, I said, "Look, right now, I'm leaning towards Ben Roethlisberger, but they don't know if his elbow injury is as serious. They believe it might be more serious than what they first played it out to be.
Good?
I don't know. I didn't bring Andrew Luck up just because I kept him under the retirement thing. I don't think he's had enough time really to himself. I wouldn't be surprised if after 2 years.
The retirement was weird. The wording, like, I just don't feel like I can rehab. Like that's giving up.
I mean, if he's taking,
that's completely giving up on trying. Like, I don't feel like I want to try anymore. How many people do you hear? How many quarterbacks you ever heard? I just don't want to try. And so it just makes me think, like, is something else, something weird that we don't know about. Like, if that's his excuse, that's a terrible excuse. Like
I don't know.
What kind of role model or leader is that? I just don't feel like trying to.
I'm not sure
to be healthy,
but I'm not.
He didn't say. He almost said, "I'd want to take a year off," is what it sounded like he was going to, and then it's just retirement, and that's why I'm like, is he coming back or not? I don't know. That one's weird to me.
I didn't include him just because I was like, you know what? I'll just play it like he's retired and he's done.
Yeah,
that's easier.
That's the best way.
That's
to do
easier.
It.
But I said as well with Pittsburgh, I said, don't be surprised if they try and draft someone this year to take over. If not halfway during this year, if Big Ben's struggling, or next year. So It's going to be interesting in the NFL, ladies and gentlemen, especially when the draft starts. In the months leading up to the draft. I think the combine is going to be one of the most fun things to watch this year, especially when it comes to quarterbacks.
Skip tweeted that right after they threw it 3 straight times off that punt. The series I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That was his reaction to the same series that I had the reaction.
Well,
he said the 49ers are going to lose this game because Shanahan just decided to let Jimmy win it.
A lot of people came out and said, if it came down to a quarterback matchup, who do you trust, Jimmy G or Patrick Mahomes? And it's Patrick Mahomes as of right now, maybe 7 times out of 10, if not 8 times out of 10. Right now, it's Patrick Mahomes over Jimmy Garoppolo. And a lot of people, after watching that game last night, might come out and say it's 9 times out of 10 Patrick Mahomes over Jimmy Garoppolo. But the game last night, of course, was good. We've got a lot of stuff to be excited for if you're the NFL. If you're an NFL fan, especially going forward, if you love quarterbacks and you're ready to see some of the old guys take a seat back and some of the new guys come in and take over, it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be really, really fun.
I tell you what, Hunter, let's do a quick, and we can finalize it I'll give you till Saturday to finalize it, but let's do a quick, let's just together think of teams that will be back in the playoffs next year. And folks, this is how it works almost every year. 50% of the teams that made the playoffs don't make it the following year. So that means you have to kick out 6 teams and keep 6 teams total in the NFC and AFC. So looking at the AFC, which teams that made the playoffs will not next year? I need at least 2. Preferably 3. And this is the hardest part. People don't, we're looking at this list, Hunter. Now remember, who just made the Super Bowl? At 4-12, the 49ers.
Yeah, 4-12 was 49ers last year.
So don't be afraid to go out on a limb here, but with the Giants at 4 wins, Lions at 3, Panthers at 5.
Well, I will say this.
Cardinals at 5.
The Lions won't only win 3 games next year because Matt Stafford won't have a back injury like next year. He'll be back. They won't be playing 2nd and 3rd string quarterbacks.
So who do we got won't make the playoffs?
Will not.
Will not.
The Dolphins will not.
I mean, that made it this year, you dodo.
Oh, I thought you meant all of them.
Who's going to not make it next year? New England?
I said while you were away that New England's probably going to retain Tom Brady.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to have them making it.
All right, so no Buffalo then. Or Baltimore, or Houston, or Tennessee.
No Tennessee.
All right, so
no Tennessee. I will take Tennessee off. I don't think Tennessee will make it again. I think Indianapolis will be better.
Does Houston win the division again?
Yes.
Kansas City win their division again?
Yes.
They should. The whole division is, who knows what they're going to do. That means, Hunter,
I can't not have the Bills in there.
You have to take Bills, Patriots.
I don't have to do shit.
Or Ravens out of the playoffs. We got to take 6. If you're going to take this, if you only take 1 or 2 out of here, we got to go to the NFC and take everybody out.
Okay, here. We'll take, bear with me here.
Oh, God.
I will take the Baltimore Ravens out of the playoffs.
All right, Ravens out. Baltimore and Tennessee.
And this is, I know it's wild, but can Lamar Jackson and this team truly reproduce what they did this year?
I mean, that's a good question. Cam never did.
That's what I'm saying. Cam won that MVP, and the next year they didn't make the playoffs.
All right, NFC. Who's not making the playoffs? Now, we only took 2 out of the AFC. That means you got to take 4 of these guys out. This is how this game works.
I can do that.
Crazy.
I can do that.
Philly?
No.
Dallas win it again. Next
Philadelphia makes it next year.
Okay.
I think they address some things. Philadelphia makes it next year. The Green Bay Packers do not make it.
Okay.
That's bold. I know because they still have Aaron Rodgers. To me, Aaron Rodgers is getting
He's made the playoffs
old.
every year he's played he's been healthy.
To me, he's getting old.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's going to catch up to him.
Okay. So Minnesota out?
No, I think Minnesota wins their division.
Minnesota wins the division. All right, Hunter. That means everybody else is out.
Yeah, that's fine because I don't know what the Saints are doing.
Out New Orleans, out San Francisco, and out Seattle. So that means by default, Hunter is picking the Rams to win the NFC West.
It's possible. Could be a It could
Is
be
that where you going?
Could be a bounce back here.
All right. So
This
right
is
now,
all this is all hypotheticals. I don't know what
without a
anybody's gonna
draft,
do.
without anything.
I don't know what anybody's gonna do.
But that's what's so hard about it is that we're so conditioned to think all these teams are really, really good. And then you look at, say, San Francisco this year and like last year, be like, well, they're going to finish first. and make the Super
Atlanta
Bowl.
hasn't made the playoffs since they made the Super Bowl.
They're 7-9. Like 7-9 is a lot closer than 4-12 is.
Yeah. And then San Francisco was 4-12 last year and went 12-4 this year in the regular season.
13-3 in the regular season.
They only win 13 games? Wow. Well, anyways, they did triple the amount of wins they had last year.
I mean, so I think Philadelphia's the easiest one to take out, Hunter.
You think they're the easiest one to take out?
Well, yeah, they're the ones with the worst record. They're the only ones without 10 wins.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think that they'll be hit with as many injuries as they were this year. I think that they'll get right.
That's true.
They're not. I've read they're probably not bringing back Drop-A-Lore, a.k.a. Nelson Drop-A-Lot.
Would Dallas not be favored this year? Will they be favored going into the season to win that division with new coach McCarthy?
I mean,
they're going to say, people are going to look at that and say,
essentially now you're saying, well, who do you trust more, Mike McCarthy or Doug Peterson?
Right.
And then it's going to come down to what have you done for me lately? And Doug Peterson has not gotten fired. Well, Mike McCarthy got fired over a year ago, and the Packers were just as good this year than with him.
Dallas scored
both of them have
more
Super Bowls.
game.
Doug Peterson and Mike McCarthy both have one Super Bowl.
Dallas had a better offense and defense this year than Philadelphia.
And now you're asking for Dallas to come out and be just as good this next year with a new playbook, new defensive coordinator, with new coaching staffs than what they were this year. Could they do it? Absolutely. Everybody wants to tell me they've got the talent. You know what? I'll bite down on it and say, okay, fine. If they have the talent, then that's great. Let's not act like Philadelphia is not talented either.
The Kansas City have good defensive backs.
And here's the question. I know, and Terry will fight it to the death. Who do you trust more, Carson Wentz or Dak Prescott?
Mm-hmm.
To me, I think it's a flip of a coin. Are you getting a healthy Carson Wentz? If so, then absolutely Carson Wentz.
Well, I don't trust Dak Prescott. He stabbed Romo in the back. Can't trust him. Can't trust him.
So to me, Philadelphia is not the easiest one. To me, it almost might be the easiest one to set in because I don't think the Giants or the Washington Redskins are ready to compete. I got Redskins
going 10-6 and winning the division.
10-6 and winning the division, I'd love it, but I don't think it's going to happen. Now, if we play by the same rules that the 49ers just did, I will say this. Our defense will be a lot better than it was this year.
Well, here you go. We took two teams out in the AFC. Which two teams are in that didn't make it?
I think the Colts replaced the Tennessee as a wild card.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the Bills making it again.
Well, no, you got to have somebody in the AFC North because you took Baltimore out. So Pittsburgh or Cleveland.
You're right.
Pittsburgh or Cleveland's got to win that.
You know what? I'm going to go Cleveland bounces back. This is wild. But Cleveland bounces back.
All right.
I think Stefanski obviously is not hurting the team. I thought the better hire would have been like Bieniemy out of Kansas City or Josh McDaniels out of New England. But Stefanski obviously is an upgrade from Freddie Kitchens, and you already had a decent year. You were really on the cusp this year, and you have talent across the board. So why not?
All right, we're getting a little iffy over here now, Hunter, since you took Philadelphia instead of one of the West teams. So that puts the Rams in, unless you go in Arizona.
No.
Okay.
It's not Arizona.
That means
I had Minnesota in.
We still need.
I had Minnesota in, Philadelphia in.
Staying in.
And then I also had just by default, I had the Rams.
Right. So you have to have the Rams
win the
championship.
So that's 3.
Well, I know that. All right. So we need 3 more new ones.
Which I can do.
So we need a team.
We need
a champion from the South.
You need a champion from South. I have Atlanta.
Okay. Now I need 2 wildcard teams because we have our champions. Teams. You've named the champions. You've named Philadelphia,
the Vikings,
Minnesota, Atlanta, and the Rams.
Okay, next year I have Dallas as a wild card.
Bears, Lions, Tampa.
I have Tampa
Panthers.
Bay. I have Tampa Bay as a wild card team as well. They went 7-9 with Jameis. If they get Teddy Bridgewater or a competent quarterback, they go 9-7.
I wonder if the camera can pick it up. Hey, it can. Folks, there's the Hunter Yancey way too early
playoff
picks. Now, what we're going to do here, Hunter,
yeah,
is people are listening right now. They're going to say you've lost your ever-loving mind.
Yeah.
But they don't understand how the rules. I mean, that's not the rules. But every year, almost by average, 6 teams
Don't make it.
are out, and new 6 teams new. You can cut it to 5 if you want to be, a little fun with it, give you a little leeway. But it's much harder we do it for 6, and then you have to take 6 out. That means across the NFL, not 6 on each staff, just 6 out in the whole league, and then add 6 more in. So
Yeah.
I think, Hunter, in 4 to 6 months, those picks will look a whole lot better.
Maybe.
I'm gonna get the NFL.
We'll just see, and they all, if you play it out, make sense. You just got to talk about it.
Right.
Especially with, go ahead with the, 6 new teams make the playoffs. The Rams, they still have that same team, basically, except a better cornerback in Jalen Ramsey than the Super Bowl team that they had.
So last year, let's go into this year to give everybody an example of who missed the playoffs. 2 missed in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3 missed in the AFC. So last year it was 5 teams
That missed it.
that missed.
Yeah.
So I told you could go to 5. On average, it's 6. But 5 to 7, if you want to play around, you can always pick, and that's why we go with 6. 6 in, 6 out to make the team. So last year, the Chargers and Colts did not make the playoffs this year. Now, Hunter, at the end of February 2nd last year,
Mm-hmm.
I could have told you that in a year from now, neither Phillip Rivers or Andrew Luck will be on the teams. Neither one of them teams made the playoffs. What if I told you this next year? Last year on February 3rd, I said, Hunter, my prediction is the Chargers and Colts are not going to make the playoffs, and Luck and Rivers will not be the quarterback next year. You'd have told me I'd lost my ever-loving mind.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Right? Okay, so let's go over to the NFC.
Yeah.
If I said the Rams ain't making the playoffs.
That's wild. They just made the Super Bowl.
If I say the Bears, people can believe that.
Yeah.
Cowboys, it's half and half. And Seahawks, which made it. And then Philadelphia made it as well. So just some, or did I count that wrong? Seahawks made it this year, didn't they?
Yes,
and
they
Philadelphia
did.
made it this year.
Yes,
So
they did.
Dallas, Bears, and Rams. Okay, I want to make sure. I did get 5. So Dallas, Bears, and Rams did not make the playoffs.
Neither did the Chargers and the Colts. So altogether, 5.
Yep. So 5 from last year. We just did 6 and 6. Hunter, anything else on Super Bowl? Your MVP, you said it might be John. You think Johnson maybe? You said Mahomes. Could argue
Damian
either way.
Williams.
Damian Williams, not Johnson. Williams.
Yeah. Williams.
I'd give him the MVP for having the best shoes.
Yeah.
Cleats of the night, bar none.
Yeah.
He won that with the
Yeah.
Air Jordan
Throwback
1
Jordans.
leathers. Those were hot. I'm not even a shoe person like that, but it was just funny to me. We had this whole week of Kobe, and then here's the running back in the Super Bowl out there in the Jordan 1s.
Jordans. Yeah.
And people, when you talk about LeBron and how much money he makes, how much popular they are, all the NBA players combined still don't make as much money as Jordan Brand.
No. And at the end of the
He's
day,
been retired for 20 years.
and at the end of the day, how many guys are like, "Oh my God, you see the new LeBron's job?" How many people go, "Oh my God, you see the new Jordans?"
They don't cut people and stand in line for hours for new LeBron
LeBron's,
shoes, do they?
No, they cut for Jordans.
Do you think the kids, when they're the LeBron fans when they're 40, will be standing in line for LeBron shoes?
No.
Do you think in 20 years there's gonna be kids standing in line for LeBron the 25th edition when he hadn't even played in 20 years?
No. They do that for Jordan.
Yeah, pretty big. Pretty big. All right, Hunter.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, believe it or
We've
not.
had a overall Super Bowl day. We went over most everything. Later in the week, we're going to talk XFL.
Yep, XFL starts Saturday.
NASCAR starts next week. Is this weekend
Talladega.
All-Star Weekend?
For basketball?
We
I'm
don't know.
not sure.
Let's check that out. How about the All-Star game? I bet if I click on that button right there, it'll tell me the date. February 16th. I thought it was the same date as the Daytona 500. That's
So
what it
it's
usually
2
is. So
weekends.
2 weeks. So 2 weeks. I guess nothing this weekend but XFL.
Yeah, and, well, Hornets game Saturday.
Yeah,
but-
Hornets play the Mavericks on Saturday. Luka Doncic will be in town. If you want some tickets, go see that. Promise you it'll be a good show on that one.
Yeah.
The 16th is All-Star Weekend along with NASCAR Weekend. So
And then the captain's draft February 6th.
That's
so Thursday.
This Thursday. So we'll know the teams by Saturday or Friday for Friday's podcast and Saturday morning show. The exact teams. They still pick them, Hunter. You know, we talked about them being overloaded in the West, but they still pick them East-West. Yeah. And then they split them up. Nah, What's the point of splitting them up then?
I don't like it.
Like, what is the point of splitting them up?
I don't like it.
East, just take your loss. Who cares?
I like watching East versus West.
What's bad is the regular season game.
If you're not a Western Conference fan, you root for the Eastern Conference.
In the All-Star game, we used to talk about how many points were scored. You know?
Yeah.
They got 150. We had a regular season NBA game, had 150 last week.
Stupid.
And we know in the All-Star game, to get that high, nobody plays defense. So what's going on in regular season games?
Nobody's playing defense.
They can't be. They just can't be. I don't know. It's a weird game to watch right now. In the NBA with these rules, with the way that they do the rules and everything, if they would put hand checking back in the game, that would stop everything James Harden does up the top of the key. All that BS, dribble. If James Harden couldn't dribble between his legs and behind his back 10 times before he pulls a jumper if you have hand checking.
All right.
That's what when you ask the old players like how they'd guard, like they asked Pippen, he was like, well, if I could hand check, I would just put my hand on his left hip and dare him to go right. Like that's all you would have to do. Yeah. But now you can't touch him. He said, I remember Pippen, I think it was Pippen, he's like, I can't believe they just let him sit there and just dribble between his legs like 10 times right in front of you. But you can't put any pressure on him because it's hand checking.
I know.
Like, how do you play defense? I don't know. Weird.
So if that's the case, anybody playing at the college level, never try and base your draft status on you playing good defense because they obviously don't care.
Just stand in the corner and shoot.
Just stand in the corner and beg for the ball in the corner.
See, there's any last-minute news on the NFL before we get out of here. Brady's cryptic tweak was about Hulu.
Yeah.
And not what he was going to do. That made some people mad. Oh, I didn't know that.
What?
Mahomes broke the curse.
Yeah, Madden curse.
He was on the cover this year?
Yeah, Madden 2020 curse.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah, it's big.
I would have definitely picked against him if I'd have known that, just because I believe in the Madden curse, but I cannot believe he won it. He did miss some games. He did get hurt. Everybody on it has gotten hurt, it seems like. But, I did not know that. All right, Hunter.
Yeah, that's...
Anything else for today?
I think it's a good way to wrap up Monday's show. Basically, it's just be NFL. It came to an end, and we brought it to an end in a good way.
Right.
But for those of you who are forgetting, you don't have to wait 7 months for football.
XFL Saturday.
Whoa!
Hunter's excited about it.
I am excited. I am very excited, and Terry's just gonna have to deal with it.
I'm not as excited about watching it as I am. I think America needs that.
Minor league, or like another route for professional football.
Yes, for the kids that are struggling in school. Like think about how many kids couldn't get into school, didn't pass their grades.
Yeah,
but the XFL don't care about that.
Oh, that's great.
If you can run a 4.4,
it's an opportunity.
I mean, the NFL lets people break the law all the time and lets them play in the game. Lets them play.
Yeah.
So just to me, if we could have a minor league football system. I don't watch minor league baseball.
No,
but that's where Terry gets mixed up in it, is that he has to compare it to the NFL, and that's not the job of it. It's not the job to be. It's not their point. It's their point is to compete with the college teams.
They're hung up on it being called the XFL and what the XFL was originally.
But think about this: if you're Saban now, you actually have to recruit against.
Yeah, the XFL.
What if Vince McMahon walks in the room
and says, "I'll give you
$100,000 this year for the next 3 years. You can make $300,000 in the next 3 years, then go in the draft.
Yeah.
Or you go to Alabama
That's wonderful.
for free, and you have to do schoolwork. I don't know if they do schoolwork at Alabama. They probably don't. But
yeah, well.
Sorry, Bama fans.
Sorry.
I'm from North Carolina. They don't do schoolwork in North Carolina either.
We don't. We don't.
We had fake classes. Come on. So I got that's kind of the thing I think could change the game is Vince going into these young. If I was them, honestly, the XFL, I'd hit up every running back in America.
They've got.
Guess who I'd hit up?
Key1.
Yes. You don't think his speed translates?
No,
right now.
Right now, yeah.
He's never going to be big enough. So
Darren Sproles was never big enough. But he still worked.
Why sit there and take shot after shot after shot for free? If I'm him,
Send your tape, young.
If I'm Mr. Pryor up at Burns, I would seriously consider. Now he plays baseball too, so he may have different offers as far as school offers and playing two different sports and stuff like that.
And he might, want to play baseball.
He might be better baseball. He's short and fast, can play infield. He's an infielder. But, I mean, kids like him who didn't get a big-time college offer. If you don't get a big-time college offer, Hunter.
No, don't worry about it.
Why would you not try, maybe just go through the NFL, but XFL, but hey,
and
can I get a tryout?
And if the NCAA is fine with, letting college basketball players tease the draft, find out where they'd get drafted, and then coming back if it doesn't work out, why wouldn't they be the same way with how you do the XFL? Go see if they would even work.
It breaks the rules because they're getting paid to play football.
I'm not saying that
that would totally break the amateurism.
No, that's just me. I didn't say that they signed a contract. I'm just saying them going to see if they'd seeing if they didn't play, even could do it.
It's un-American to not allow the kids to at least try. Like the way the college is set up is like they're forcing them there, and it's not, and it should be a choice, not a force. Like Hunter, like the thing with Duke. Let's say I think all athletic scholarships should be guaranteed at $50,000 because that's how much it costs to go to Duke. Yeah. Let's say that. Let's just say that. That's exactly. Let's say that's how much it costs. 50 exactly. I should be able. NCAA should, if they guarantee these scholarships, if everything's equal. Then the NCAA, if I want to go to Appalachian State for $10,000 and save $40, they should write me a $40,000 check.
Yeah.
Then when I graduate, I have $160,000 a bank, a degree, nothing in the bank, and a degree. If I make it through the degree.
And the thing that I'm excited for the XFL too is, look, there's no. It's not going to be bad football. These guys all played at the collegiate level. At least, and some of them even had a pro stint. They played at the professional level. Just they got either cut or got beat out.
How do college football fans rectify this?
They don't.
Well, no, what I'm about to say. They don't.
They don't.
How can college football fans say XFL football is bad when it's all their stars that couldn't make the NFL? So obviously they're better than the college teams. But they're not as good as the NFL.
Yeah.
There's a difference between bad and not as good as in the NFL. To say it's bad, I don't think it's good or right at all.
Anybody that rooted for the USFL can't talk about why they don't like the XFL. You know why? Because you liked Steve Young. Was he not a USFL star? Oh, you liked Herschel Walker.
Now see, that's straight competing with the NFL.
Yeah.
I think this should be, they should use it as a college type stepping stool. To where I go get paid $50,000, I can. If Hunter, let's say this, I can go to. No, you're not even going to be a star, just a regular player. I can go $50,000 a year at the XFL for 3 years. After 3 years, I can, or 2 years, or whatever, I could still go to the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Let's say after 3 years I don't make the NFL, and I realize, Hunter, that I just didn't make it. Well, what about all that money I just made?
In the XFL.
Can you pay to go to community college?
Yeah, for cheap.
Yeah. So when they say the college degree, the college scholarship is so important, well, if I make $150,000 without a college scholarship, can I pay for some classes?
Yeah. After
that, that's what nobody ever think about that.
I don't know.
I try to tell Terry that all the time. Terry, if you pay them, then they can pay to come back.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, we've got to go. That's going to be the end of the day. I want to thank everybody for watching and listening on Facebook. And on YouTube, we'll have the podcast up just a little bit on everywhere podcasts are found, Apple, Spotify, and more. I do mine on Apple. I have an iPhone, so that's where I can listen to ours. Also, folks, on our podcast, we put a special bonus, our Saturday shows, because me and Hunter's on that as well.
Yeah.
So we add that. We got a bonus section on the podcast. Click on that for Saturday Sports Talk with Terry and Tom joining us. But other than that, Hunter?
Yeah.
Ready to wrap it up?
Absolutely.
All right, folks. I want to thank everybody once again for tuning in today and listening to Shock Joxx Sports Podcast on KTC Broadcasting.